What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 8 Chapter 176 Initial Control, Mission Accomplished. Different from the whiteness within the original space, the whiteness in the core area is purer and more holy. It exuded a mysterious aura that made Sumo unable to help but immerse himself in it. And through this holy white light, in the core area, there is a faint outline floating there. The origin Holy Spirit. Sumo's eyes flashed with a gleam of brilliance, and without saying a word, he continued to go deeper inside. Su Hao and Su Ying looked at each other, then dispersed tacitly and patrolled around to protect Sumo. This breath is so pure. Soon, as Sumo continued to go deeper, the holy aura became stronger and stronger, giving people the feeling as if they had entered the end of the world, with majestic and magnificent visions appearing before their eyes. The birth of Wanli mountains and rivers, the evolution of living things. Everything is recorded in these visions, which are very mysterious and wonderful. With curiosity, Sumo continued to go deeper. After a while, he seemed to have passed through an invisible barrier and entered a chaotic little world like a bubble phantom. Boundary within boundary within boundary, damn, where are the nesting dolls? Sumo couldn't help rolling his eyes, but was immediately attracted by the hazy and colorful mist in front of him. Colorful mists continuously presented strange scenes, and the aura continued to spread outwards. Sumo's eyes showed expectation. System. Well, that ball of colorful mist is the origin of the Holy Spirit of this secret realm. The host only needs to relax his body and mind, blend into the dim light, quietly perceive, and refine the core of the colorful mist. After hearing the confirmation from the system in his mind, Sumo took a deep breath and continued forward. When he arrived in front of the hazy light wrapped in colorful mist, he dived straight in, emptying his body and mind. Suddenly, a mysterious consciousness entered his mind. It was very pure, without any distracting thoughts. Advertisement. What we do have is the idea of embracing everything, which is very broad and warm. This should be the original Holy Spirit that was born in this special secret realm, right? Thinking secretly, Sumo immediately sat cross-legged in the air to feel this thought. Time passed slowly, but for Sumo at this moment, it seemed as if this concept did not exist. Melting into the colorful mist, he began to try to refine the original Holy Spirit bit by bit. And just when he was refining the original Holy Spirit, in the sky outside the main world, dark clouds rolled in, and evil energy soared into the sky. As far as the eye could see, the evil energy covered the sky within a radius of 10,000 meters. It was pitch black with no end in sight. And within the deep and oppressive dark demonic energy, hideous outlines are surging. And if Mo Fan and Mo Shui knew that he could initially control the origin Holy Spirit in 2 days, they would probably regret it to death. It took Mo Shui alone almost 3 months to refine the incomplete secret realm spirit. As the two voices fell, a female voice followed with a cold snort. It's not to the point of tearing our faces apart, otherwise we wouldn't have sought your cooperation and borrowed your hand again. For the time being, the federal government is our common enemy. My holy church uses you to make profits, and you, too, need my holy church's means to make profits. It's a win-win situation. Just now, Su Hao sent him a message, saying that 2 days had passed. Only then did he regain his concept of time. It's a good thing that the two of them are still unaware of it at the moment, otherwise Mo Fan, who is the closest and is in the secret realm, would definitely pull old Yan to kill them again without saying a word. Whether they can snatch the goods or not is one thing, but he would just vent his anger by cursing and swearing. Monster. The divine light is vast, stretching vertically and horizontally throughout the entire space, and strange visions continue to emerge, from the initial chaos to the reflection of the universe in the starry sky, to the final mountains and rivers rising from the ground, until finally all living things are derived. Another Haki's honest voice followed, with a stronger sense of ridicule. Humans are such despicable creatures, killing each other, and having sinister natures. We are not like monsters. Although we are also unhappy with everyone, at least we don't play these intrigues. If I use human words to describe your behavior at this moment, it is crazy, ha ha ha. When Sumo opened his eyes, divine light emerged from his deep eyes. 2 days later, within the origin space, sudden. Soon, another half-day passed. 2 days, what does that mean? Advertisement Haki's honest voice fell silent, and the majestic voice that spoke first also fell silent. The words fell. Ding! The host has successfully refined the origin Holy Spirit. The mission is completed and the rewards are being distributed. The dark demonic energy continued to move forward, and its direction was actually the direction of the secret realm where Sumo and others were. In the past 2 days, he has been communicating with the thoughts of the origin Holy Spirit. Opening his eyes, Sumo showed a happy smile. Monsters are everywhere. And these colorful mists that diffused outwards were actually emitted from Sumo's body. The colorful mist that had been continuously overflowing stopped spreading, and together with the mist that permeated the surrounding area, it all returned to Sumo's body. The same was true for the hazy light on the outside. As well, all of it rushed into Sumo's body. I wish I could rush into the origin space again right now and interfere with Sumo without stopping. Then he enveloped his own consciousness and refined it bit by bit. Now, he was only a little bit away from initially refining the origin Holy Spirit. This was because his soul was strong enough to continue like this. 2 days already? I am only a little bit away from initially controlling the origin Holy Spirit. Little girl, why is your Black Rock Church so kind to lead the way this time? Are you finally going to tear your face off with the federal government? The Haki's honest voice mocked Kaido. Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? You know, although you, the Black Rock Church, are inhumane, you are still human after all, and we monsters only want to destroy all humans. At this moment, within the deep demonic energy, a majestic voice with a hint of ridicule was heard. The female voice laughed. Getting into trouble? If you really have such ability, how could you let us humans survive until now? Isn't it because you are afraid of the potential of humans that you are willing to put up bargaining chips to cooperate with our Black Rock Church? And when that place is completely open, by then, who will be destroyed and who will be the overlord of this planet is still unknown. In just 2 days, he refined the secret realm spirit to the level of initial control. How much perverted the soul strength must have been. And they are at least 4th level monsters that can walk in the air. In the center of that chaotic little world within a world within a world, colorful mists continue to spread in the hazy light. At this moment, his aura is like that of the Lord of the World, holy, vast, and extremely majestic. Wow. Chapter 177 Battle Demon Puppet. Ding. The host has successfully refined the origin Holy Spirit. The mission is completed and the rewards are being distributed. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 4 million energy points, 2 advanced unlock progress random draw coupons, 3 intermediate unlock progress random draw coupons, 1 designated unlock progress coupon, 1 intermediate martial arts improvement coupon, and a limited combat demon puppet. At this time, the chaotic little world that was like a bubble phantom had disappeared, or in other words, as the origin Holy Spirit was refined and integrated into one by Sumo, the chaotic little world became equivalent to his body and became a new container. Listening to the reminder in his mind that the task was completed, Sumo smiled with satisfaction. The reward is still good. At this time, Su Ying and Su Hao also appeared beside Sumo at the first time. Both of them looked at Sumo curiously at this moment. How do you feel? Sumo. It feels amazing. As he spoke, he moved his mind and a hazy white light swept across, enveloping both Su Hao and Su Ying. The next moment, the 3 figures disappeared. When he appeared again, he had already left the original space and came to a high mountain in a mountain range. Looking at the misty sky around him, Su Hao sensed it quietly and was amazed. Traveling through space in the secret realm, this origin Holy Spirit is actually much more powerful than Kamui. Sumo nodded and smiled. Well, it is indeed very strong in the place where it was born, but in the outside world, it may be greatly discounted. Of course, the most exciting thing is not this. The most exciting thing is that those natural treasures and some treasured lands hidden in the secret realm can be found under the perception of the origin Holy Spirit. It can even slightly change some changes in the landforms to hide those treasured lands and natural treasures. Su Hao smacked his lips. Isn't this similar to the existence of the heavenly Tao in the novels of my previous life? Changing the landforms and knowing everything within heaven and earth, this kind of divine power is indeed like a mysterious existence. And Su Ying, her mouth almost stretched to her ears, said, it feels good. Now, all the treasures in the entire secret realm are theirs. In this way, even if the federal government sends a large number of people to search and explore in the future, they will not be fleeced. It's up to Sumo whether he wants to or not whether the federal government can find it. Within the secret realm, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is much richer than that of the outside world. The spiritual energy vortexes and spiritual energy veins are all treasure lands for cultivation. Although a lot of resources have been excavated by the 2 major alliances and major base cities over the past 1,000 years, Sumo's careful perception revealed that not even 1/10 of them had been found. This shows that it is not easy to find resources even in a secret realm. Well, maybe that's the case for other people, but for him now, it's almost like a private bank. Advertisement Sumo was extremely happy, and the Holy Spirit of Origin began to vibrate in his mind. It was seen that within the vast secret realm, across thousands of miles of territory, the psychic energy veins and psychic energy vortices were undergoing tremendous changes. Some easily discovered treasures were all hidden deeper, and the mountains, rivers, lake bottom veins and the like were all sunk into the earth or suppressed by the activated mountains. Even some natural treasures were moved by the earth, gathered together and hidden. Of course, while doing all this, Sumo would naturally not show up around the major base cities, but would do it quietly. However, where there are people, the resources have been almost fully exploited, so he will not change. After he was almost hidden, Sumo stopped activating the origin Holy Spirit with peace of mind, which consumed a lot of his soul and mental power. If someone carefully observes the secret realm at this moment, they will definitely find that it is no longer the same as before. The landform has undergone tremendous changes. Turning to look at Su Hao and the others, Sumo immediately ordered. How about this? I will go back and meet up with Darong and the others first, and you two go and collect resources according to my instructions, especially those mineral veins, harvest them first. After he finished speaking, he transferred some of his memories to the 2 of them. As the original body, this was not difficult. After receiving these memories, Su Hao and the other person laughed. Get rich, this wave is called going to the bank to withdraw money. The next moment, without hesitation, the 2 left. On the mountain, Sumo stood quietly with his hands behind his back. A secret realm can allow me to obtain such resources. If I know all of Mofan's memories of his previous life, then wouldn't it be? When he thought of Mofan's value, he couldn't stop smiling. He is really a good brother. Nodding with satisfaction, Su-Mo then probed his consciousness into the system. The system rewards this time are very rich. Putting aside the 4 million energy points and the unlocking progress coupons, there is something new. Designated unlock progress scroll and a limited edition battle demon puppet. Judging from the name, the former should be related to the progress of template unlocking, but the latter is really novel. Advertisement. With a quick glance of his consciousness, all the information about the two items was displayed. Specify unlock progress scroll. You can directly select the template character whose abilities you want to improve. Seeing this, Su-Mo's eyes lit up. This is good. It is definitely better than the random draw coupons for advanced unlocking progress. Although the subsequent progress will also be randomly drawn, there is no need to rely on luck when it comes to the drawing ability in the first stage. You can avoid the annoying operation and directly specify the ability you want to improve. Needless to say, this scroll will definitely be used for the Vibranium Force and the Sharingan. Feeling happy, Su-Mo changed his mind and looked at the introduction of the limited edition War Demon Puppet. Limited War Demon Puppet. This limited puppet is made from divine objects. Its body is extremely strong. Its core is a mixture of a trace of the law of the abyss, so it can use the power of the abyss. It also has inherited skills. The strength of its power is completely determined by the user's energy supply. Please click on the list to view the details. Out of curiosity, Su-Mo clicked on the puppet's details list. After a while, he exclaimed with emotion, "Awesome! This War Demon Puppet is absolutely awesome. In this world, there are formation masters, weapon refiners, and naturally, there are also unconventional professions like puppeteers. Puppeteers are actually an inherited skill derived from beings who have awakened this kind of supernatural power. They can use their unique abilities to control puppets, which are puppets they have built at great expense. Then use your own special abilities to control the puppets to fight the enemy. As a result, puppeteers were born to create puppets for these people with special powers, and they also had some connection with weapon refiners. Therefore, some powerful awakeners who control puppets to fight can even fight against many enemies alone, which is extremely terrifying. After all, if he had several powerful puppets, his psychic power and soul strength would be enough to control them. Being at the same level, the combat power is naturally outrageous. The reason why Su-Mo was so awesome as soon as he opened his mouth was because his War Demon Puppet seemed a little different. Because it doesn't need any control at all, it only needs to be provided with energy to be able to move on its own, and its combat power is off the charts. Chapter 178 Host. Think twice before you act. As he thought about it, Su-Mo moved his mind, and saw a ball of black light disappear in the system's storage space. Buzz. After a buzzing sound, a black sun appeared out of nowhere in front of him. Black light filled the air, swallowing up all the surrounding light. After a while, the area within 1,000 meters was turned into a black curtain. But after a while, these black lights, as if they had life, gradually converged and continued to gather towards the black sun in front of Su-Mo. Soon, the black sun became thicker and deeper, and black energy continued to beat on the surface of the sun. And this is not over yet. The black sun condensed and compressed again, gradually turning into a human-shaped outline. Su-Mo was confused. Is this a puppet? With all this noise, and the strange energy fluctuations and life force, you're telling me it's a puppet? In his impression, puppets are generally lifeless and dead objects. How could there be such huge energy fluctuations and breath of life? He remembered that once in Tianhai City, he had the honor of seeing a Silver Realm Awakener with puppet abilities performing a show. It was a dog and a human-shaped puppet. The workmanship is not very delicate. Before being activated, they look like two large toys made of a mixture of wood and iron. But when activated, its movements were no different from those of humans and monsters, though it was still not agile enough. This may be related to the awakened person's supernatural talent, the level of puppet workmanship, etc. But the problem now is that compared with the two puppets in my memory, this War Demon Puppet gives people a feeling. It doesn't look like a puppet at all. Host, don't use normal logic to speculate about the War Demon Puppet. You can think of it as a puppet, or you can think of it as one of the incarnations of the abyss. It is a special existence with self-awareness. Of course, it must be provided with energy to activate it. After hearing the system's explanation, Su-Mo had a bad feeling. It keeps saying that it needs to provide energy. Is this so-called energy similar to the energy that puppeteers use their own psychic energy and soul to drive, or the energy that psychic stones drive? System. Host, you are too superficial to think like that. As a limited combat demon puppet that is one of the incarnations of the abyss, it naturally uses the highest level of energy, such as energy points. Grass. Su-Mo's face darkened instantly. Can I return the goods? Advertisement system. Mission rewards are randomly distributed. Once distributed, they cannot be returned or exchanged. Also, the limited edition Battle Demon Puppet is very rare and very useful for protecting the host's safety. Are you sure you want to return it? If you really want to return it, you can pay a certain amount of energy points to start over, but there is no guarantee that you can get such a treasure again. This will not happen again. Hearing this, Su-Mo's face froze, and he quietly browsed through the detailed introduction of the War Demon Puppet again. Although it is another gold-eating beast, it seems. It's really awesome. Ahem, no need, it's already been sent, so let's just leave it like this for now. After a long silence in my mind, the system's voice came again. Host, after you are bound to the war demon puppet, the strength will be determined by the strength of your soul, so you must consider providing energy. If you over-infuse it and exceed the critical point you can control, the war demon puppet will go berserk. After all, it is a limited existence derived from the law. The host must remember this to avoid accidents. Hearing the system's voice, Sumo nodded. If that's the case, then we really need to be careful, otherwise we might end up being killed by our own puppets, that would be unfair. At this time, the black sun gradually took shape. Sumo looked over quickly, and saw a tall, almost 2-meter tall, oppressive black shadow standing there. Even if he wanted to collapse this peak with his physical strength alone, he would need to do some extra work. System. When giving orders, remember to tell the war demon puppet to be more restrained. Then it merged into the souls of Sumo and the war demon puppet, with the former being the master and the latter being the servant. It was like a pitch black sun, with an extremely strong sense of destruction, completely different from the expressionless silence before it. It made his energy points soar to over 12.6 million, although it was still a drop in the bucket for unlocking Mangekyo and the power of shock. The system's voice came at this time. Host, think twice before you act. Is this physical strength really that pervertible? Looking at the war demon puppet with great curiosity, Sumo consumed 100,000 energy points without saying a word. Kneeling on one knee, the 1,000-meter high mountain range beneath his feet was instantly shattered by this force. Sumo raised his eyebrows. Even you said so I have to be more firm. It was a master-servant contract, and Sumo didn't even have to do anything. The contract automatically split into 2 parts. Just a slight kneeling could cause a 1,000-meter peak to collapse. How outrageous. Advertisement bang. But he just couldn't help wanting to test him and see what the limit of Sumo's current physical body was. The power of the abyss in his body surged and continued to rise. Following the system's steps, Sumo immediately used his consciousness to probe into the mind of the war demon puppet. More than 8.6 million energy points, plus the 4 million obtained from refining the origin Holy Spirit and completing the task. Well, although his face is still expressionless, his eyes are much more lively. When the black light on the body surface completely subsided, all about the figure was revealed. Looking at the war demon puppet, Sumo suddenly wanted to compete with it. The system automatically generated a complicated soul contract. But for these small consumptions, it is barely enough. The facial features of this war demon puppet are very handsome, as if they were created by the magic of heaven. He has a perfect figure, wearing a close-fitting, dark red armor. At the knee joints, he has grown a huge black horn with blood patterns, which is very lethal and fits this body perfectly. The explosive and agile muscles hidden under the armor are just right, as if this body was born for fighting, and the sense of oppression is off the charts. The war demon puppet looked up at Sumo and said expressionlessly, Master. As 100,000 energy points were stored in the body of the war demon puppet, his empty eyes gradually revealed a glimmer of light, and his autonomous consciousness began to start. This was the first time I saw a guy whose physical strength was even more perverted than mine, even though I knew he was forged from a divine object. It was like a giant beast from the abyss awakening. Forced to stand in the air, Sumo looked down at the mountain that had collapsed due to the war demon puppet's kneeling, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Suddenly. Try it first. However, at this time, because of the evil black lines of the black sun, coupled with his expressionless face and deep, empty eyes, this ultimate sense of coldness and evil charm makes people ignore his handsome appearance at first glance. And as the contract was reached, suddenly, Sumo felt a sense of intimacy between himself and the war demon puppet. Looking at the war demon puppet standing in front of him, Sumo secretly marveled. With this appearance and this body proportion structure, I would believe it if you told me it was a person. And that explosive body fluctuation is terrifying. Chapter 179. Do you want to kill your master? The last sentence from the system made Sumo lose his defense and his face turned dark. Do you look down on Su so much? You know, the improvement in his strength was the result of an all-round transformation. Not only the abilities of the template characters have been enhanced, but the physical body is also improving rapidly. Now, he doesn't know where his limits are, but at least one thing is certain. That is, most extraordinary physical strength is not as terrifying as his. Even after all this, the system still doesn't think highly of him? System. Host, your physical strength will indeed become more and more terrifying in the future, but now, you can't beat the war demon puppet. Sumo was very unhappy. How terrifying is this guy's physical strength? System. If the energy supply is sufficient, you can be crowned king. Turning to look at the tall and mighty war demon puppet, Sumo was stunned. Perhaps if he continues to improve, his upper limit will definitely be higher, and he will be no less powerful than the battle demon puppet in the future, but now, well, he feels a little weak. But even so, he still wanted to give it a try. Standing on the sky, Sumo looked at the war demon puppet that stood up and said, From now on, you will be called War Demon. The war demon puppet still had a blank expression on his face. Thank you, Master. Looking up and down at the war demon, Sumo said with some confidence. How about this? I want to test your physical strength. 100,000 energy points should be enough for you to squander for a while. Let's spar with each other in physical strength. Remember to do it within your ability and stop when it's enough. The war demon puppet stared at Sumo with its deep eyes. After a long while, it nodded. Got it. The words fell. Bang! A roar that broke the speed of sound was heard, and the figure was already close to Sumo. Then, that explosive fighting body made a punching gesture, and the iron fist suddenly blasted out. Bang! This punch instantly broke the sound barrier, and in the blink of an eye, it hit Sumo's face. The fist hit Sumo's face, and his eyes twitched. F***K. Do you have to be so cruel from the beginning? The speed of the war demon puppet is so fast that it breaks the sound barrier in such a short sprint. This is enough to show how terrifying his physical strength is. Even Iron Fist broke the sound barrier at less than a meter. Every move exceeds the speed of sound. What kind of pervert body is this? Even with the ability to see and hear, Sumo's reaction nerves were unable to react. 1 second, no, this instant of close contact and punching was completed almost the moment the words were spoken. Can't hide. Damn, what would happen if I got hit in the face by this punch? It's okay to lose the head, but the handsome face must not be destroyed. Advertisement armament color hardening. In a flash, Sumo's physical energy surged, and he displayed his armament haki, and his entire handsome face turned black and purple on the spot. Since no psychic power is used, it should be considered a physical battle, right? Clang. There was a loud sound of metal, and the war demon puppet's fist hit Sumo's face hard. Call out. Then they saw that the terrifying aftermath had blasted out invisible ripples in the sky, and Sumo had already turned into a stream of black light. Was blown away. Blow, 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 all the high peaks along the way were smashed through, and the momentum continued to move forward, smashing towards the back. Finally, after being blown away for who knows how far and smashing through countless rocks, the force subsided and it was imprinted into a barren mountain. Boom! The earth shook and the mountain collapsed again, and Sumo was also buried underneath. Sumo was trapped under the rocks, and his head was a little confused. This punch, even some extraordinary awakeners who have awakened the ability to enhance their physical bodies, are not so fierce, right? He reached out and wiped his nose, it was bleeding. Even with the armament haki activated, he still got skin injuries. First, this was the first time Sumo was in such a mess when using armament haki. Just when he was confused, suddenly, bang! A huge force came from above the rocks, and the domineering body of the war demon puppet had already crushed the rocks, and it kicked down again. He gave Sumo, who was lying below, a powerful kick. F***K. Without having time to think, Sumo didn't dare to be careless this time and directly covered his whole body with armament color. He even started to act rogue, adding psychic energy to activate the armament haki, which increased the hardness of the armament haki to a new level. Bang! A powerful kick came from top to bottom, hitting Sumo directly in the chest. Bound, bound, bound. The roots of the entire barren mountain completely collapsed, and the earth, unable to withstand the force, was blown apart and overturned. Sumo fell straight into the ground, 100 meters. km, 3,000 meters. The momentum is fierce. Advertisement, dry. With a low growl, Sumo finally managed to stop the downward force by force, then he shook his body and rushed out of the ground again. He believed that with his current physical strength and the armament haki he had activated at full power, he could do it. Head-on confrontation. This time, Sumo was really P***D off. Sumo's scalp tingled, and he quickly said, "The physical sparring test is almost over. I'm quite curious about what was said in the introduction. As long as you have enough energy, you can activate the power of the abyss, and even inherit skills, and have realm power that is no different from that of ordinary people, such as the power of the domain. War Demon. More than 10,000. Clang. Sumo was also very curious about the fact that the War Demon could actually use his domain. Sumo gritted his teeth and fought his way out of the underground again. Facing the War Demon that came again, his face turned ashen. 1. More than 10,000? Stop, bang, so angry? However, just as he rushed out of the ground, the War Demon's kick was already waiting for him. This beast swallows more gold than a gold-eating beast. It's almost like a blood-sucking beast, sucking Sumo's blood. Grass. War Demon. Master, actually, these more than 10,000 energy points have not been used up after I converted them into power. I only consumed more than 6,000 points in the 10 minutes I fought you just now. The rest of the power is still stored in my body. As he spoke, he raised his fist. Damn it, he agreed to be more restrained. Is he trying to cripple his master to death? He immediately ordered Zanmo. Use the remaining power to activate the domain and show me. The stalemate lasted less than 10 seconds before one person was the first to fly backwards. It was Sumo. Sumo's face darkened, and without saying a word, he turned around and kicked forward. So, Sumo was naturally blasted into the ground again, his body smashed through the thick soil layer. Although he was protected by the armed color, the feeling of collision was still very uncomfortable. Sumo frowned. How much? War Demon. Master, my material and core are too strong. I must absorb a large amount of energy points. More than 10,000 energy points, and they were gone in just 10 minutes? It was like the collision of two divine irons. The terrifying energy swept out. The already devastated land was shaken again and all the waste rocks, trees, etc. were swept into the sky. It seemed like a natural disaster and was extremely terrifying. Stopping his body, the war demon said expressionlessly, "Master, I have probably barely reached the physical body that can be crowned a king." His breath was wheezing, but Sumo seemed to have thought of something and asked quickly, "How many energy points did you consume this time? But don't give him a few hits like this, or 100,000 energy points will be gone." The war demon immediately followed, not giving Sumo any chance to breathe, as if the person in front of him was not his master, but the murderer of his father, and he chopped down with his leg axe again with great force. Even beings like the Super 7 Stars couldn't break his defense, but the war demon's punches and kicks made him almost scream. War demon. How much strength did you use? Hearing this, Sumo almost vomited blood. You really want to reach the level of a king? You use the body of a king to hit your master, do you want to kill me? The war demon nodded. The master hasn't told us to stop yet. Sumo took a deep breath, walked up and patted Zanmo on the shoulder. Why, do you want to use up all your energy and continue to beat me to death? Chapter 180. Abyssal Realm, Black Cloud Approaching. Domain is a characteristic of the powerful ones in the extraordinary realm, and even the giants who have been crowned as kings. The former is a half domain. Only when it is condensed into a complete domain can one enter the realm of becoming a king. As for the latter, if they have a high level of comprehension at the level of this complete body, they can communicate with heaven and earth at a deeper level. Comprehending the will and then integrating it into the domain can not only increase the power of the domain dramatically, but also possess the magical power to turn the false into the true. But these are all powers that are acquired through step-by-step cultivation as human beings. Although the war demon puppet is in human form, its core is derived from the so-called laws of the abyss, and it is obviously not a real human. Can he really use his domain? Sensing Sumo's doubts, the system asked back, "Host, what do you think the law is?" Hearing this, Sumo was stunned. "I haven't heard of it." System. Laws are a force that even the king cannot grasp, but they are the only way to reach the peak. After hearing what the system said, Sumo seemed to remember something. "I remember you said that becoming a king is not the end. In other words, this so-called law is the power controlled by a higher level of existence?" Host may think so, but the battle demon puppet is more complicated. I cannot explain too much to the host for now. You just need to know that it is reasonable for a higher level power to use the power of the lower level. Turning to look at Zanmo, Sumo was even more shocked at this moment. It seems that the war demon puppet is much more terrifying and rare than he imagined. Fortunately, I was really attracted by it before, otherwise, if I had a brain attack and asked the system to refund it, I would have lost more than 100 million. At this moment, hearing Sumo's order, the war demon actually took off into the air. An extraordinary aura suddenly burst out from the tall and perfect body. And that's not all. The aura of terror continued to burst out. Extraordinary 2 stars. Super Samsung. Extraordinary 6 stars. Extraordinary 8 stars. It did not stop until it reached the extraordinary 9 stars. Buzz. Suddenly, after a buzzing sound that shook the sky, the evil black sun appeared again behind the war demon. The next moment, all the light in the world seemed to be swallowed up. The sky and earth within a radius of 10,000 miles dimmed in an instant. The evil black color of the black sun gradually spread out, appearing so deep and silent. Advertisement with a thought, the heaven and earth directly evolved into a deep dark world. And unlike ordinary darkness, this darkness is more pure, and when you are in it, it seems as if you will be swallowed up at any time and anywhere. Your body is vaguely out of control, and you are trapped in the boundless darkness. And in the center, a black sun hung high above, constantly emitting black ripples, which was very evil. As long as you take a look at it, or are irradiated by the black ripples, the fear in your heart will emerge involuntarily like your body, causing fear, terror, trembling and other negative emotions, which are enough to make people collapse. This, being in the field, Sumo's eyes suddenly showed confusion, and fear quietly arose in his heart. The war demon came to his side. "Master." After these words, the negative emotions in Sumo completely dissipated, driven away by the war demon. Coming back to his senses, Sumo looked at Zanmo in shock. "Has your domain been condensed to the point of perfection?" He had seen great battles between extraordinary powers, and even through the battle memories transmitted back by Su Hao and Su Ying, he had experienced the feeling of fighting against extraordinary powers. However, no matter whether it was the extraordinary power from the unlawful alliance who was killed, or Old Yan, or the big guys like Feng Xiaoyao who were half a step away from becoming a king, the fields they displayed were not as terrifying as the field of the war demon. The domain displayed by the war demon gave Sumo the feeling that it was not inferior to the ice realm displayed by Murong Chongkong that time, and even, it felt even more evil and terrifying. But the aura of the war demon at this moment is only at the extraordinary 9 stars. How did he manage to condense the complete domain in the extraordinary realm? This is somewhat counterintuitive, host. It is reasonable for a higher level power to use the power of a lower level. If the war demon did not want to consume too much energy, let alone the complete form, he would be able to integrate his will the moment he stepped into the king realm, far surpassing the other king level powerhouses. After hearing the system's explanation, Sumo couldn't help but take a deep breath. Awesome. After looking around the strange dark world and the black sun in the sky, he looked at Zanmo again. Zanmo, what is the name of your domain? Kaido said expressionlessly. Abyssal Realm. Is this a field driven by the power of the abyss and possessing all the characteristics of the abyss? Very appropriate and very strong. Put it away, don't waste energy. As soon as Sumo finished speaking, Zanmo's mind moved, and he saw the dark abyss realm disappear in the next moment. He can control his abilities freely and influence the structure of heaven and earth with just one thought. The complete domain is indeed much stronger than the half domain. Then there is the question of energy. The war demon is strong and can indeed be used as a trump card. Even just now, Sumo didn't feel any limit. In other words, the war demon can consume energy points to improve himself, and entering the realm of becoming a king is not a problem. But Zanmo hesitated, which meant that 100,000 energy points were not enough for him to become a king and use more powerful strength. Advertisement: the consumption of 100,000 energy points can at most support the extraordinary 9-star level to activate the complete domain. As for how long it can last, that is also the question that Sumo urgently needs to know. War demon, with your current state and strength, how long can you sustain it with the current energy points in your body? Being stared at by Sumo, Zanmo said blankly, 1 hour. Hearing this, Sumo frowned slightly. An hour? Not too much, not too little. With the war demon's current state, he is absolutely invincible before he becomes the king, and it is not impossible for him to even fight against higher level enemies and become the king. With the foundation of forging divine objects and the core of the laws, it is definitely possible. You can tell from the beating he just received. If you think about it this way, 1 hour is indeed quite impressive. What a pity, if the war demon kills living beings. Before Sumo finished his YY, the system's voice came first. Host, the war demon has reached a master-servant soul contract with you, and it is also a product of the system. When he kills living creatures, you can naturally gain energy points, but you can only get half. The words fell. Sumo was stunned at first, then his mouth stretched to his ears, and he was ecstatic inside. Whatever you think will come true. Just when I was wondering whether the war demon would gain energy points by killing living creatures, the system gave the answer. Still a huge surprise. If the war demon kills living creatures, he can also obtain energy points, although only half. But even so, 1 hour is so damn worth it. If used properly, it can even be transformed into a perpetual motion machine for killing, and he can make a lot of money. Thinking of this, Sumo smiled sweetly. System, Mua. System. This is the reward the host gets for completing the mission because of good luck. The war demon can obtain energy points by killing creatures, which is also a standard function. The system is just serving the host according to the process. Hey, the system that works hard seems to be a little bit arrogant. Let's go, war demon. Thinking with amusement, Sumo immediately took the war demon back to the direction of the holy city of Dawn. At the same time, outside the entrance to the secret realm, in the sky tens of thousands of miles away, a large black cloud swept in, and on the surface of the black cloud, black sand was constantly spreading. After a while, when the black cloud was already tens of thousands meters away from the entrance to the secret realm, the blood-killing army guarding outside the entrance to the secret realm had not yet reacted. Chapter 181. 5 King levels tens of thousands of meters away, the demonic energy was thick and oppressive. To the naked eye, it looked pitch black, as if night had arrived. But at the entrance to the secret realm, the blood-killing army was unaware of anything and could not sense the oppressive aura. Naturally, it was difficult for the naked eye to see the scene tens of thousands of meters away. Ha ha ha. Little girl, your church's black rock material is really useful. Within the black cloud, that simple and domineering voice spread out again. I will ask you again, are you really unwilling to sell some black rock materials to us? After all, we have been cooperating for so many years, so we have some friendship, right? The enchanting female figure was facing the entrance to the secret realm. Hearing this, she turned her head and looked at the burly figure sitting on the throne beside her. Senior Yunj, this thing is rare in our holy church. In the case of cooperation, our holy church will not be stingy, but in private situations, I can't make the decision. The figure called Senior Yunj curled his lips and said, as the saint of the Black Rock Church, you can't make the decision? That's right. The woman with a charming figure mixed in with the group of monsters was Mo Shui. A few days ago, he wanted to escape from the origin space, but was hit by Su Ying's Kamui. Even though he was protected by the incomplete secret realm spirit, his body was still torn apart by the force that tore through the space. His body was covered in blood and he looked extremely miserable. And when she reported the situation to her grandfather, the deputy leader of the Black Rock Church, she was almost driven crazy by the latter's disappointed tone. From childhood to adulthood, in her grandfather's impression, she was the most outstanding candidate for the saint. She could complete everything perfectly, which convinced all the believers. They all believed that she could surpass all the saints of previous generations, even the first generation. However, such expectations were completely shattered during this mission to find the spirit of the secret realm. Not only did it cause a huge loss to his own incomplete spirit, but the heavenly evil envoy trained by the 7 saints was also captured, resulting in heavy losses. When this news reached back to the Vatican headquarters, many people were dissatisfied, and there were even many voices calling for a re-screening of the saint. In the end, it was the deputy leader who suppressed his voice, and the senior leaders stopped talking. As for this action, it was a revenge by the Black Rock Church, and it also wanted to compete for the spirit of the secret realm again. In their minds, the spirit of the secret realm would definitely not be refined so quickly. As long as there was a chance, they, the Black Rock Church, would not miss it. So this time, they were going to force their way in directly, and they really made a big move. Without completely breaking off relations with the federal government, they could once again cooperate with the monsters. Advertisement: cooperate with two demon kings who are both famous among the monster kings. The evil Dragon King, the Lord of the Yolong Mountain, is one of the great demons who attacks the federal government, and is also the closest enemy to the demon city. A place where they can pursue interests purely and have no worries is the most suitable place for them. However, at this time, their faces were pale, and they were obviously injured. Even if we foresaw it, so what? If we really can't complete the plan, we can still achieve our other goal, which is, never let them have an easy life. In addition to these two Demon King level beings, the Black Rock Church also sent a holy envoy. Snort. Therefore, Mo Shui was so mocked, but she was proud of it. She chuckled and said, "Thank you for the compliment, Senior Yun Jie." Just the mysterious young man sitting cross-legged on a black lotus nearby is probably comparable to Lu Tianhe, and he is just one of the 9 holy envoys. In other words, the other 8 who are qualified for the position of holy envoys are not too weak either. The White-Bone Saint envoy mentioned by the Yunj Tiger King was the one who initially connected the two Demon Kings, and was also one of the 9 Saint envoys. These two Demon Kings are different from other demons in that they have open-minded ideas. In order to devour humans more efficiently, they are the first group of demons to secretly and proactively cooperate with the Black Rock Church. Although they are despised by other demons of the same kind, they are the most feared existences by humans. The human form of the Yunj Tiger King was a burly man with a yellow beard. Hearing this, his eyes narrowed slightly and said, "Little girl, you are quite good at commanding tigers. Your skill in drawing big cakes is half as good as that of the White-Bone Saint envoy." Mo Shui covered her mouth and laughed. "No, Senior Yun Jie, you may appear a little rough on the surface, but you are actually very steady." One of the 9 holy envoys, his whereabouts are mysterious and unpredictable. Except for the deputy leader who knows his whereabouts, it is difficult for others to see him. What it means is, as long as you try your best to help us this time, we can consider it. After being chased by Lu Tianhe for a while, the two paid a heavy price but finally managed to escape successfully. At this time, the evil Dragon King spoke again. "Girl, according to what you said before, your whereabouts have been exposed this time, and the federal government will definitely strengthen its vigilance. Are you sure that they will not send strong people to support us and will not give us another chance to attack?" The Yunj Tiger King is also a powerful demon king who is not inferior to the evil Dragon King. Advertisement: when it comes to giving advice and suggestions, the Holy Envoy of Bones is definitely one of the best in the Black Rock Church. The fact that he was sent here to assist Mo Shui this time was enough to show how dissatisfied the deputy leader, who was in power in the entire Black Rock Church, was with this failure. With a cold snort, Yunj Tiger King said no more. At the side, the evil Dragon King, who was wearing a black scale feather robe and had 2 horns on his head, looked like a young man with a cold appearance. He was sitting cross-legged on the throne in the air. His pair of upright dragon eyes were filled with disdain. He turned his head and looked at Mo Shui. "Girl, the last cooperation caused the demon city to suffer heavy losses. I am very satisfied. If it is true as you said this time, that the group of young monsters of mankind are in the secret realm, we will naturally do our part." Normally, if anyone dared to talk to it in this way, he would be slapped to death. Hearing this, Mo Shui smiled confidently. "Senior Shilong, let's not talk about the current tense situation between the 9 demon-suppressing armies of the federal government and the other dangerous places of your monsters. This time, they don't know the purpose of our Black Rock Church. They are unsure about this point, but we take it very seriously. Under such a premise, we are the ones who take the initiative. With you, Senior Yunj, and the 5 king-level beings on our side, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, Senior Chu, and Senior Xing, they are very likely to be unable to predict it." Next to Mo Shui, Xu Chengfeng and Xing Wuan were also there. Joining the Black Rock Church was indeed the right choice. The two looked at each other and saw the relief in each other's eyes. So this time, the 2 men ignored their injuries and followed the main force for revenge. The Yunj Tiger King beside him was unhappy when he heard this. His tiger eyes were filled with danger. "Little girl, are you saying that Master Tiger is unreliable? But Mo Shui is the saint of the Black Rock Church after all, and there will be a lot of cooperation in the future, so let it go." Looking at the evil Dragon King, Mo Shui smiled sweetly with her beautiful eyes. "Senior Evil Dragon is still reliable. The Black Rock Church is indeed extremely powerful. Holy Envoy of Black Lotus," and in this short period of time, they were completely impressed by the strength of the Black Rock Church. Sensing the dissatisfaction of the Tiger King Yunj, Mo Shui said calmly, "Senior Yunj, the Black Rock material is one of the foundations of my holy church. As a saint girl, I really can't make this decision. But if you can help my holy church complete the operation this time, I can apply to the deputy leader for this right. He is also a ruthless person." At the end, Mo Shui thought of what Su Hao and Su Ying had done. Her eyes were cold as ice, and she gritted her teeth. Fear. Chapter 182. The devil is 1 foot high, the Tao is 10 foot high. At the entrance to the secret realm, Lu Tianhe stood cross-legged on the sky. He had been guarding the entrance for the past few days. Let the federal government and the major base cities negotiate, he only needs to protect everyone's safety, especially the young people. Suddenly, his bloodshot brows frowned, his bloodshot eyes opened, and blood light pierced through the void and shot straight towards the sky ahead. At the end of the sky, a black cloud slowly appeared. Demon. With a chill in his heart, he immediately released his vast perception, but he was unable to sense the situation inside the black cloud. This phenomenon of shielding perception. Lu Tianhe frowned, his face solemn. Black Rock Church. These rats are difficult to deal with. I thought that after this blow, he would not appear again for a while. I didn't expect that he would come here to discuss me again, and so blatantly. Although it was expected that the group of rats would not give up, cooperating with the monster was simply insane. Taking a deep breath, Lu Tianhe quickly sent a message to a deputy general. The monster is attacking, go and inform the people inside. The iron-blooded commander stood up only after the deputy general rushed into the ripple entrance. His expression was calm, not panicked at all, but a bloody aura instantly burst out from his body. Suddenly, a strange image of a blood column stretching from the sky to the ground appeared behind him. All troops, listen up. Those below the Diamond Realm must retreat to the secret realm. The rest of you must follow me and kill me. As the murderous voice fell, the blood-killing army generals below, who had also sensed the black cloud, immediately took off into the air. The aura and murderous spirit of the Diamond Realm burst out immediately. But compared with the dark clouds that covered the sky, it seemed so small. From afar, the voice of the Cloud Tiger King came from the black clouds. Lu Tianhe, you don't seem to be panicked at all. Are you really prepared? Interesting, let's see who will win this game. Hearing this voice, Lu Tianhe narrowed his eyes slightly. Yunj Tiger King. Is this person also cooperating with the Black Rock Church? According to the information we received, the monster wave in Demon City was caused by the Black Rock Church and the Evil Dragon King. At first, I was surprised why the Evil Dragon King had such a mysterious ability to block perception. It turned out that in the end, it was the group of rats that did not die out and revived again who assisted him. They worked together with the monsters to kill their comrades. Damn it. And now, in addition to the Evil Dragon King, is there another demon level being cooperating with this group of rats? Advertisement. In other words, there are 2 great demon level beings in the black cloud that is coming this time. And the overwhelming group of monsters below them are at least 4th level monsters. Fierce battle. This time, it seems that there will be a fierce battle. It is obvious that humans are already under enough pressure. Most of the main forces of the 9 demon-suppressing armies are fighting bloody battles with monsters on the front battlefield every moment, and have suffered heavy losses. But when we get to the rear, we have to be on guard against the Black Rock Church's group of rats causing trouble. Well, so sad. Thinking of this, Lu Tianhe's bloodshot eyebrows were first tightly furrowed, but then they relaxed strangely, and a barely perceptible smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. And the black cloud that covered the sky was gradually approaching the entrance to the secret realm. Roar, a tiger roar that shook the earth suddenly sounded. A terrifying sound wave swept out, and the next moment, the tall and burly body of the Yunj Tiger King appeared in the void 1,000 meters away from Lu Tianhe. He stared at the generals of the blood-killing army, and after sensing the surrounding environment, he grinned at Lu Tianhe and said, "Defeated general, you don't think that just with you, a crowned king, and those ants behind you, you can compete with Lord Tiger and the Evil Dragon, right?" More than 10 years ago, in a large-scale battle, Yunj Tiger King and Lu Tianhe had fought. In that battle, Lu Tianhe had just entered the middle stage of the King realm. Facing Yunj Tiger King, who had been in the middle stage of the Demon King for many years, he was naturally no match for him and even nearly had his arm chopped off. Recalling that thrilling battle, Lu Tianhe was not irritated by Yunj Tiger King's words. Just staring at the former quietly. Indeed, at this moment, the 2 great Demon Kings plus the endless 4th and 5th level monsters are simply not enough for his blood-killing army alone to defeat them, but what if the strongest legion of mankind is added to the mix? Just as Yunj Tiger King finished speaking, an extremely ethereal female voice suddenly sounded above the sky. Yunj Tiger King, brother Lu's blood-killing army is not enough, so what if I add mine? And within a second of this female voice falling. Buzz buzz buzz. Under the ground tens of thousands of meters away, invisible beams of light shot straight into the sky. Soon, all over the land, streaks of light carrying evil spirits were activated and spread continuously. Covering thousands of miles of mountains and rivers, and even beyond the atmosphere of the sky, at the end of the light column that shot up into the sky, light patterns began to connect together, trying to completely cover the world. Annihilation Array. Sensing this movement, Yunj Tiger King couldn't help but exclaimed on the spot. Wasn't the core of this killing formation destroyed by the 4 great demon masters 100 years ago? How come it happened again? At this time, 2 figures appeared silently beside Lu Tianhe, a man and a woman. Advertisement. The man was carrying a white jade sword on his back and wearing a white jade armor. He looked middle-aged and very handsome, especially his extremely sharp eyes, which were brewing terrifying sword intent. He stood quietly beside Lu Tianhe, like a magic sword. The woman on the other side of Lu Tianhe looked younger, but the vicissitudes of life in her beautiful eyes were hard to conceal. She was holding a black spear and wearing an extremely ordinary warrior uniform. Although it was ordinary, she looked like a heroic Valkyrie with a shocking martial spirit. And this woman does have a similar title, one of the commanders of the God-Killing Legion, and also the strongest female commander in the human race. The female warrior queen, a brilliant performer. As for the middle-aged man, he was even more terrifying. Although they are not members of the 9 demon-suppressing armies, they are one of the savior families that have protected mankind from generation to generation. The current head of the Yi family is a peerless swordsman who is honored as one of the 3 great swordsmen of mankind. The star-slaying Sword King, Yi Wuchen, and when Yi Wuchen appeared, the angry voice of the evil Dragon King sounded at the same time from the black cloud behind him. Yi Wuchen, you actually dared to appear in front of me. That's right, similar to the relationship between the Yunji Tiger King and Lu Tianhe. The evil Dragon King and the star-slaying Sword King also have a hatred that has lasted for decades. It is even deeper than the former. The hatred for the sword mark on the chest is a shame for their dragon clan, a huge shame. Over the years, the evil Dragon King had been searching for the trace of this human Sword King, but he never had the chance. Moreover, he alone could not enter the human territory to look for Yi Wuchen. It was precisely because of this unforgettable humiliation and the urgent need to seek revenge that the evil Dragon King took the initiative to accept the cooperation of the Black Rock Church. Devouring humans is the second purpose, and finding Yi Wuchen and killing him is the first. Roar, a tiger roar that tore through the sky was heard, and the Yunj Tiger King took a deep breath and immediately restored his true form. It was a domineering golden tiger several thousand meters tall, with a bloody word, King, on its forehead, and an aura of murderous intent that was terrifying. His huge tiger eyes stared at Lu Tianhe and the other 3 kings. I didn't expect that you humans have actually repaired the extinction array. You hit it deep enough, but the cost and time of setting up this formation are hard to estimate. I'm suddenly curious, when did you start setting up this formation? The female warrior queen Duan Xingyun showed a hint of smile on her heroic face. Of course, we started planning as soon as we learned that the group of rats appeared in the world. Now it seems that the harvest is far greater than we imagined. The words fell. The Yunj Tiger King felt a sinking feeling in his heart. If what Duan Xingyun said was true, then the main purpose of this secret trial of the federal government was not to test the young people. Everything was fake. The purpose was to lure out the Black Rock Church, or even the evil Dragon King who had cooperated with it. Although the federal government did not expect the Black Rock Church to enter the secret realm to cause trouble, the latter is taking a gamble. I bet the Black Rock Church will show up and even bring out the evil Dragon King. Hateful. In this game, after the appearance of the Annihilation Array, it was obvious that their side was at a disadvantage. If there wasn't this damn killing formation, what would happen even if Yi Wuchen and Duan Xingyun appeared? Damn it. Chapter 183. The war is about to break out at this moment. Within the black cloud of demonic energy, Mo Shui's pretty and charming little face also became a little ugly. The federal government was indeed prepared and had even designed a plan for the Black Rock Church. So brave. Not only did they send 2 powerful humans, they also sent the God-Killing Legion. The most important thing is the killing formation that covers the sky and the earth. The Array of Annihilation, humanity's most powerful killing formation. 500 years ago, humans discovered a mysterious object in a secret place, and then all the formation masters in the world came together to study it. It turned out to be a terrifying killing formation specially developed to fight against monsters. But wasn't that mysterious object destroyed by the 4 demon lords working together 100 years ago? How did they rearrange the killing formation when the core of the formation was gone? At this time, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, who had been sitting quietly on the Black Lotus with her eyes tightly closed, spoke softly, Saintess, this is not a complete extinction array. The complexity of the aura and light patterns is not as terrifying and detailed as recorded. It should be rearranged using some kind of replica, or the remains of the strange object that was destroyed that year. The power is only acceptable. After he finished speaking, the evil Dragon King, who had regained his composure while sitting on the throne, nodded and said, I also participated in the battle 100 years ago. That strange object was indeed destroyed by the 4 great demon lords. This annihilation array is not as magnificent and terrifying as it was 100 years ago. It can even be said that it is not even 1% as powerful as it was 100 years ago. Hearing the words of the 2 bosses, Mo Shui couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. In this case, there is no need for us to be polite. Although the plan has changed, we are always at an advantage in terms of numbers, and the presence of Lord Black Lotus is also one of our advantages. Also, do they think that we, the Black Rock Church, have no other means? As she spoke, Mo Shui looked at the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, who frowned slightly. Saintess, there is no need to take out that thing now. We have the advantage in numbers, and we also have the thing in your body. This small fake formation cannot defend against us. If the Array of Annihilation really is here, then he will release that thing without saying anything, even without the Saint Maiden's advice. But if it was just a fake formation, it wouldn't be enough to expose that thing. Nodding, Mo Shui said in a cold voice, then let's get started. As she finished her words, the evil Dragon King and the Black Lotus Saint Envoy disappeared out of thin air. The next moment, he instantly appeared beside the huge Tiger King, confronting Yi Wuchen and the other three kings. As soon as he appeared, the evil Dragon King's dragon eyes were fixed on Yi Wuchen. If we hadn't fought fiercely before that battle, how could you have succeeded? Today, I will completely wash away my previous shame, and my sword will be broken and I will die. Advertisement, Yi Wuchen said calmly. Really? Then I will wait and see. After replying coldly, Yi Wuchen frowned slightly and looked at the Black Lotus Saint Envoy who was sitting cross-legged on the Black Lotus. Not only him, Duan Xingyun and Lu Tianhe also frowned when the Black Lotus Saint Envoy appeared. The situation seems to be a little different from what they expected. In addition to the two great demon kings and the two kings in the secret realm, the Black Rock Church also sent strong men. This person is not simple. In the perception of the three of them, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy is very strong. His indescribable aura is even stronger than that of the evil Dragon King and the Cloud Tiger King. The feeling of oppression he gives people is very strong. That is to say, including the two kings of the secret realm, the Black Rock Church's attack this time has 5 kings. It is even possible that there are other powerful people hidden in the black cloud that blocks perception. Black Rock Material. The troublesome thing is that all the schemes start with information, and the Black Rock Material of the Black Rock Church really puts too much pressure on the federal government in terms of shielding the perception of information. Sure enough, this group of rats was not as easy to deal with as it was thousands of years ago, and was even more difficult to deal with. To deal with them, you must be determined to hurt the enemy by 1,000 and lose 800 of your own. In this strategy, Yi Wuchen and Duan Xingyun have already reached the limit of the high-level military force that the federal government can deploy. The rest of the strongest forces are either guarding the city to prevent attacks from monsters in other dangerous places, or heading to the major fronts to command the battlefields. They are no longer able to send out another king. If they had the spare strength, then this time, there would definitely be more than just 3 kings, and more would have to be sent out. After secretly looking at each other, Duan Xingyun and the other two no longer felt the joy they had at the beginning. Now it is our important task to repel the Black Rock Church and the monsters and protect this secret place and our young talents. Can't try to get more. Fortunately, they have the Quincy Array, which can suppress the opponent's use of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and benefit themselves. Even if they do not have the advantage in numbers, at least they have the advantage in combat power and endurance. Old Dragon, I'll leave Yi Wuchen to you. I'll take care of this defeated general. Master Tiger doesn't believe that a small fake formation can suppress my strength. Even if they are suppressed, I will still abuse them. Kill. Advertisement. After a roar, the huge Tiger King rushed towards Lu Tianhe first. The monstrous murderous aura and the power of Jingjin rushed into the sky, shaking a large area of the sky and making it shake. Then it turned into a sharp claw that covered the sky and slapped the latter fiercely. Although he was hindered in absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, with his foundation as the huge Tiger King, he could still hold on for a long time. You retreat first. After giving instructions to the generals behind him, Lu Tianhe immediately rushed forward, and the blood column that stretched from the sky to the ground behind him suddenly twisted, and countless seas of blood poured in. The next moment, he smashed towards the sharp claw without fear. Boom, there was only a shocking roar, and the power of Jingjin and the blood column continued to collide and stalemate, and the aftermath swept out. It spread mercilessly around. Duan Xingyun hurriedly swung the black gun in his hand, and the gun light shot out, instantly resisting the aftermath of the sea of blood that swept towards the blood-killing army behind him. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy who was squatting on the Black Lotus also made a seal with his hands, and a large piece of evil black light turned into a black curtain of lotus to isolate and eliminate the evil gold force of huge Tiger King, preventing it from impacting the direction of the evil black cloud behind him. If the two had not intercepted in this way, this collision alone would have been enough to destroy their respective mid-level combat power. The strength of a king-level warrior is so terrifying, even if it is just a simple test. They are enough to destroy the world and affect the territory. Yi Wuchen only said calmly, "Go up." As soon as these words fell, the 6 crowned kings, including the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, rushed up to the sky together and came to the end of the extinguishment array, outside the planet's atmosphere. If it weren't for the pressure of the extinguishment array, the huge Tiger King and the evil Dragon King would even rush out of the universe and display their true power with all their strength. At this time, after the 6 crowned kings rushed out of the earth, the God-killing legion, which had been teleported here at great cost, also slowly approached the periphery of the Quincy. They were surrounded by gold and silver armor and dragon seals. Each of the God-killing legion exuded an extremely murderous aura, much stronger than the blood-killing legion. There are hundreds of thousands of God-killing troops, and many of them are vice-admirals. It can be seen that the federal government has indeed dispatched all the available forces this time, because these hundreds of thousands of God-killing troops already have the strength to sweep across a demon king's territory. At the same time, at the ripple entrance of the secret realm, Feng Xiaoyao and other powerful men who received the order also rushed out fiercely. Including the major base cities in the secret realm, all of them are at least LV4 strongmen, and they were also invited to fight out to show their determination to join the federal government. Among them, Su Mo, who had already gathered, also quietly sent a war demon to follow behind the group of strong men. As for him, he could only stay at the entrance of the secret realm with Cheng Wushang and others, and be protected by the other strong men who stayed behind to guard it. In the words of these powerful men, this is not a battlefield for you young people to participate in. Anyway, the war demon has been sent out. Sumo thought about it and then calmed down and watched the show behind him. Chapter 184. Kill them all. At the entrance to the secret realm, a group of young people were looking in the direction of the Quincy array from afar. Through the faint light patterns, when they saw the black cloud of evil energy that covered the sky, their scalps went numb and they became extremely nervous. Some students with backgrounds already knew something about the Black Rock Church through their family elders. But that was just hearsay, and they never took the evil force recorded in the books seriously. Although those insane events disgusted them, they did not happen around them, so they naturally did not have any real sense of fear. But now when they heard from their elders that the Black Rock Church was attacking, these young people were a little confused, and an emotion called fear began to arise in their hearts. Cheng Wushang couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Brother Mo, is it really the Black Rock Church? Ning Kiki hid behind Yi Xiaoshui, poked her head out and peeped over, her mouth trembling. Weren't those bad guys wiped out by the federal government 1,000 years ago? Woohoo! The sky is dyed black, so scary. Shangguan Xinghong came closer, his face solemn, and whispered. At first, I overheard the conversation between the ancestors and others, and I was a little skeptical. Now even the extermination array and the god-killing legion have arrived. It seems that it is very likely that the Black Rock Church is behind this. And I heard that the last time our demon city had a wave of monsters, it was the work of those rats colluding with the monsters. Upon hearing this, Cheng Wushang, Ning Kiki and others all looked stern and felt a chill in their hearts. So many people died in that war, and many families lost their loved ones. It turns out that it was the Black Rock Church that was behind this. As human beings, they were killing their own compatriots. At this moment, this group of students truly experienced the teachings in the textbooks that denounced the Black Rock Church. Definitely not a human. Seeing the angry expressions on everyone's faces, Sumo said softly, we just need to listen to the principal and the others. Don't think about anything else. Even the Gold Realm Masters can't participate in the battle. We should just wait here obediently. That being said, this guy secretly sent another 500,000 energy points to the War Demon. The voice transmission said, War Demon, kill as much as you can. Don't worry about the energy. If necessary, it doesn't matter if you directly consume the energy to the critical point that I can support. The tone was extremely harsh and cruel. The war demon who was secretly following behind a group of strong men heard this and said expressionlessly, do you want to kill them all? Kill. Inside the black cloud of demonic energy, Chu Chengfeng sensed the strong men pouring into the Quincy array and frowned slightly. It seems that all those guys have surrendered to the federal government. Sheng Wuan's hawk-like eyes immediately revealed a murderous intent. We will kill them all, except Lu Tianhe and the two kings who were crowned later. There should be no one on their side who can match us. The gap between the extraordinary and the kings, what does a small extermination formation mean to us? Advertisement. As he spoke, his figure disappeared, and when he appeared again, he was already above the sky, above the god-killing army and the blood-killing army. His sharp eagle eyes looked down at the iron-blooded and tall figures below, and he sneered, they are indeed two extraordinary armies, but so what? They will only be slaughtered by me. He was no match for Lu Tianhe, but this small army, no matter how large its number was just an ant. If you don't become a king, you will forever be reduced to an ant and can be destroyed at any time. As he appeared first, the huge monsters of level 4 and 5 in the black cloud of demonic energy that covered the sky behind him also rushed out of the black cloud. Their bodies were majestic and huge, and some were hundreds of meters long. Roar, 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 tick, 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 roars and whistles suddenly resounded throughout the sky, shaking the void. Most of the monsters are tigers and dragons, which are the confidants of the evil Dragon King and the Yunj Tiger King respectively. The coordination of the 9 demon-suppressing armies, which had been honed over the years, was enough to suppress their arrogance. This is an extra powerful king. After that, it was the powerful ones in the extraordinary realm, followed by the generals in the diamond realm, and the war demons followed at the end. Soon, they broke up their formation again, and 4 or 5 monsters gathered into a small team. The powerful, fast, and disruptive monsters were all paired together. This was not a problem at all for them, who were at least 4th-level monsters and already possessed the intelligence of adults. You now, if you're scared, just go back to Black Cloud and protect that chick. Don't come out again. The atmosphere at this moment was very depressing and tense. With a roar from the old general of the god-killing army, the war began. It has been the biggest obstacle that has been fighting against these monsters for thousands of years. If they continue to act recklessly, they will definitely suffer a great loss. Ha ha ha. I'm coming here with my king today. I'm going to kill as many people as I can. I won't stop until I'm dead. If it were against an ordinary human army, it wouldn't say anything. A 1,000-meter-long giant monkey covered with blue hair saw the bloodthirsty eyes of the demon generals and quickly spoke out to stop them. Kill. But at this moment, he had already converted 200,000 energy points into energy, and the explosive abyss power in his body was boiling. Advertisement. They naturally knew the anger of their master. If they really angered the demon lord, they would probably become his food. Therefore, even if they have the advantage in monster numbers, they cannot act recklessly, they need to cooperate. And the number of monsters. Humph. I am the first resourceful general under the evil Dragon King. Over the years, have you ever seen me being cowardly? Do I have to act recklessly like you and be defeated one by the human army to be considered heroic? Endless monsters stood above the sky, looking ferocious and powerful, and the air was filled with demonic aura. Thinking of this, he looked up at Xing Wuan in the sky. As soon as these words fell, all the 5th level demon generals trembled. Although Commander Lu had said beforehand that the two kings had been severely damaged by him, and with the suppression of the extermination formation and the coordinated attack of the formation, as long as these half-step king generals worked together and looked for opportunities, they would have a chance to defeat them, but the difficulty. Brothers, don't be careless. There are 2 armies of the 9 demon suppression armies on the opposite side. Although we have the advantage in numbers, we have that damn formation. Be careful not to capsize and have your magic cores dug out by those ant-like humans. After a while, this group of highly emotional demon generals calmed down a little. It's really huge. Kill all these humans. Devour them to your heart's content, everyone. With heavy looks in their eyes, General Long of the blood-killing army, Feng Xiaoyao and the city lords of the major base cities also came to the front soon, and together they were wary of the group of 5th level demon generals and Xing Wuan. But the 2 iron-blooded armies before them are humanity's 9 demon-suppressing armies. Thinking of this, Yu Nao, the first resourceful general under the evil Dragon King, said coldly again, "Everyone, I advise you to listen to me and cooperate in 2s and 3s. Only in this way can we defeat the God-killing legion and the blood-killing legion with the most effective offensive. If you insist on acting recklessly and cause this operation to fail, you don't want to experience the wrath of the 2 demon lords, right? Even if it is temporary cooperation, it is better than acting recklessly." Until a few minutes later, opposite this group of monsters, in the God-killing army, an old general wearing golden dragon silver-scale armor saw this scene and couldn't help but frown. But in this endless group of monsters, no matter whether it is a dragon or a tiger monster, each one of them has an extremely terrifying aura, and they are at least the lord of a territory under the demon lord. If those monsters could really work together, they would be much more difficult to deal with, but what is even more difficult is. The murderous intent is overwhelming. Chapter 185 Obey the Master's Order, Killing begins. The deafening shouts of killing were like a fuse. Kill. Arm your troops, devouring these human ants, follow us. Swallow them. The troops on both sides were full of energy and shouted loudly, charging towards each other without hesitation. At this moment, no matter it was the God Slayer and Bloodkiller armies, or a group of monsters, they could no longer suppress their evil spirit and murderous intent. It surged out wildly, almost turning into substance, and the clouds were completely broken. Of course, we still have the necessary calmness. On the human side, in addition to the 2 demon-suppressing armies that formed an exquisite battle formation, the strong men from the major base cities and the strong men from external forces such as Feng Xiaoyao also temporarily formed a simple battle formation to match the group of monsters. Although it was not very exquisite, the necessary coordination was still there. Everyone, come on! After the old general named Lien of the God-killing army gave a low shout, General Long of the blood-killing army and several commanders who were half a step away from becoming kings rushed up to the sky, their terrifying spiritual powers completely bursting out, and they killed Xing Wuan without reservation. For a moment, the void was shaking, and all around the heaven and earth, the pressure of the annihilation array spread, and immediately all rushed towards Xing Wuan. Patterns of light permeated the sky, not only protecting General Lien and others, but also waiting for an opportunity to strike, waiting for a fatal chance. Nearly 10 half-step kings, experienced commanders, plus the assistance of the large formation, and Xing Wuan's injury, this was the only way Lu Tianhe and the other 2 could think of to deal with the situation. After all, they could not send even one more powerful king, so they could only fight for their lives in this way. It was also a good thing that Lu Tianhe had been chasing Chu Chengfeng and Xing Wuan, and had made up his mind to kill them and severely inflicted heavy damage on them. Otherwise, if these 2 kings were intact, Lu Tianhe and Duan Xingyun, the 2 commanders of the 9 demon suppression armies, would never let their subordinates take such risks. You know, the training of the 9 demon suppressing armies came at a huge cost. The loss of even one soldier would be a source of grief not only to them but also to the federal government. But now, Xing Wuan and Chu Chengfeng can only use 60% of their strength at most, and the formation suppresses another 10% or 20%. That is about 40%. With such strength in the offensive and defensive assistance of the Quincy, we don't need to defeat them, but just stabilize them. Advertisement, but this was a temporary countermeasure. From the moment the Black Lotus Saint Envoy showed up, they could not guarantee whether it could be successfully carried out, and Lu Tianhe and the other 2 also prepared for the worst. If we can repel the invaders, that's fine. If we can't, then we can only retreat back to the secret realm, close the entrance, and rest for a while. In the sky, feeling the endless pressure, Xing Wuan's old eyes showed annoyance. I still underestimated this formation. I didn't expect it could suppress more than 10% of my strength. However, with a fierce smile, his hawk-like eyes showed cruelty. Even if it is 40% of the strength, you half-baked people can't contend with it. Die. Dead letter falls. Oh, The next moment, accompanied by a cry, the beastly form of the sky-splitting spirit eagle emerged from the countless strong winds. Its majestic blue-black body, with its wings spread, covered the sky and the sun. Then he flapped his wings lightly, and an endless gale containing the power of heaven and earth swept out. Whoosh whoosh, the howling wild wind blocked everyone's vision at an altitude of tens of thousands of meters. In the blink of an eye, it pressed down towards General Lien and 10 other half-step kings. The extremely sharp sound seemed to be able to split the void at any time. The power of the king, even with the suppression of the formation and the injuries, instantly made everyone below feel extremely desperate. However, General Lien and others no longer have any way out. Everyone, fight hard. Rushing in the front, General Lien narrowed his eyes slightly and immediately used his own domain. It is an enhanced variant of the supernatural power, a defensive field derived from the Golden Bell Amulet. Although it is of defensive type, it can also cause great damage with the help of the power of heaven and earth. Endless golden light suddenly spread out, and bell sounds were ringing in it. Sonic killing was one of its functions. The golden light spread out, constantly taking the shape of golden bells that pressed towards Xing Wuan, which was the most terrifying means of killing. Soon, General Long and others who rushed to an altitude of tens of thousands of meters immediately condensed their own domains. There are special types of speed-prohibited areas. There is an elemental poison field. Buzz buzz buzz. Under the control of 10 half-step king commanders, the 10.5 domains did not repel each other. Instead, they overlapped very well, covering the entire sky 10,000 meters high, trying to trap Xing Wuan. But unfortunately, after Xing Wuan also used his own domain and amplified himself with the help of the wind element of the power of heaven and earth, his towering body grew again. His body was covered with a layer of wind armor formed by the power of heaven and earth. He constantly shuttled through the 10.5 domains. The strong wind tore through the killing offensives that were formed in each domain, and even forced the general and others to hide in the domain to avoid the sharp edge. Advertisement. Fortunately, with the help of the light patterns of the annihilation array, the 10 of them were still able to barely resist the deadly gale in the claws and wings of Xing Wuan. Although there were dangers everywhere, at least they were not immediately seriously injured or killed. This shows that this king in his early stage of being could not exert much strength. This is great news. Next, it will depend on whether they will be seriously injured and killed first, or whether they can find an opportunity in such an oppressive situation. In the sky, the curtain of light was dazzling, and the roar of earth-shattering destruction continued to be heard. The curtains of each field almost covered everything. The battlefield thousands of meters below was pitch black and extremely depressing. But even so, this battlefield, which was obviously one level weaker, was also extremely tragic. The being who had just entered the extraordinary realm did not hesitate to release the half-domain that he had just condensed. After occupying a piece of heaven and earth, he looked for his target and killed the 5th-level demon generals, which also caused a devastating natural disaster. After a while, it affected the battlefield of the Diamond Realm, and casualties appeared. A war of this magnitude, if not for the protection of the Quincy, would have spread far and wide, destroying the entire territory. If a Diamond Realm person is in the midst of this misfortune, he will become cannon fodder. Some will die, some will be injured. It is tragic, very tragic. Hey, come over here and join us. Don't just stand there like an idiot. Be careful not to get caught in the siege. At the bottom of the battlefield, a human diamond-level team was fighting against several 4th-level monsters. The Bloodkiller army commander who was in charge of organizing the battle formation saw that the war demon was still standing there stupidly, and hurriedly reminded him anxiously. Come over here. The war has already started. What are you still doing? The voice was very anxious, with a kind of anger that was disappointing. Indeed, those who are currently at the bottom of the battlefield must be at the Diamond Realm, alone and in danger of death. Easy to be besieged by monsters. Just as the blood-killing army commander finished his words, the war demon was surrounded by 4 or 5 4th-stage late-stage monsters. Demonic energy surged, and all kinds of huge elemental attacks immediately bombarded. The young commander had a look of anxiety on his face, and hurriedly flew over with his team, but it was too late. Elemental attacks fell from the sky, completely submerging the war demon's tall and perfect body. But at this moment, a strange scene appeared. There was no roar, nor any aftermath that spread in all directions. The elemental attack that was enough to cover 1,000 meters actually disappeared. That's right, it disappeared, as if it was swallowed and continuously sucked into the body of the war demon. Looking up, the pitch-black armor instantly transformed into a mask, covering the war demon's evil features. A cold and ruthless voice also spread at this moment. Follow the master's order, the killing begins. Chapter 186. Break your watermelon, this guy has no moral principles. The killing begins. The cold voice came out slowly, and the murderous intent was also rising wildly at this moment, the murderous intent of the war demon. At this moment, the 4 4th-level monsters were all stunned when they saw that their attacks were swallowed up. Although they could not speak, their large eyes clearly revealed shock and astonishment. I was ready to kill him without even looking at the explosion, but it didn't explode. Instead, his and others' killing moves were swallowed up. It was strange. There was something wrong with this human. It was a bit weird. The young commander of the blood-killing army who was flying towards him from the sky couldn't help but stop in midair, looking at the war demon in horror. What kind of supernatural power is this? It can actually swallow such an attack. He obviously mistook the war demon's instinct for superpowers. But it is right to think so. After all, the ability of the war demon is the devouring instinct derived from the laws of the abyss. There's nothing wrong with being considered a supernatural power. It's just that this ability is so incredible that it shocks people. While in a daze, the young commander's pupils suddenly shrank. In front, a circle of dark and evil black light burst out from the surface of the war demon's body after swallowing the attack. Buzz. The black light suddenly spread out, and in just a moment, it spread out like a wave over a distance of thousands of meters. No matter they were powerful humans or demons, the black light penetrated their bodies and they looked confused. The blood-killing army commander who was closest to the war demon was also confused. What is this? When the black light attacked, he wanted to resist, but the speed of the black light was so fast that even his Diamond 8-star cultivation level could not react. But the strange thing was that after the black light passed through his body, nothing happened. However, the next scene left him dumbfounded. Blow, 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 blow. There were frequent sounds of flesh and blood exploding, and within a radius of several thousand meters, all the monsters that were penetrated by the black light released by the war demon were exploded. That's right, it exploded out of thin air like this and turned into a blood mist that filled the sky. For a moment, the 9 demon-suppressing armies and a number of powerful men who were fighting against the monsters all stood in midair with a bewildered look on their faces. What's going on? Why did these monsters explode? Is that the black light? But we were also penetrated by the black light, so why didn't we explode? A large number of doubtful voices were heard after a brief silence. All of them were shocked into incoherence by the horrifying scene before them. At this moment, I'm afraid only the young commander knows what's going on. He stared at the war demon with wide eyes, so fierce. Such a ruthless man is definitely much more powerful than the elite and extraordinary generals in his blood-killing army. Advertisement. I was actually worried about him just now, worried about a tough guy who was pretending to be a pig but was actually a tiger. Damn. As the instigator, the war demon, after releasing a trace of the power of the abyss in his body, became silent, with murderous intent rising in his body. His perfect body immediately soared into the air, turning into a black stream of light, and flew towards the more dense group of monsters. Kill, kill, kill. In his mind, there was only this murderous thought and his master's order left, to kill all invaders. The power of the abyss in the body burst out again. Buzz. Another circle of black waves burst out and spread out, covering a wider area. The evil black waves of the abyss spread in all directions at a speed so fast that no monster had a chance to react. Such rampant behavior immediately attracted everyone's attention. It was him. The black light just burst out from this guy's body. Shit. It turns out to be our tough guy. Awesome. What kind of superpower is this? Once the black light passes, you die instantly? Look. Those monsters exploded again. Bound, bound, bound. Under the gazes of everyone, the 4th level monsters that were penetrated by the black light had no time to react and exploded on the spot. Blood mist was falling all over the sky, blood rain was endless, and the smell of blood was everywhere. At the same time, Sumo, who was at the entrance to the secret realm, also received a large number of prompts about obtaining energy points. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the 4th stage late stage flame eagle and obtained 3,271 energy points. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the 4th order early stage poisonous spirit deer and obtained 1943 energy points. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the 4th order mid-stage giant scale python and obtained 2,676 energy points. Ding! The host contracted puppet war demon was killed. Listening to the reminders that kept popping up in his mind, Sumo felt a little sad. It's really only half. A late-stage 4th order monster would generally obtain between 6,000 and 7,000 energy points. Getting more than 3,000 was almost half. The midterm price is just over 5,000, and half of that is just over 2,500. In the early days, it was nearly 4,000, and now it's almost close to 2,000. It's a pity indeed. If he could get all of them, how much would Su earn? However, such a ferocious war demon should be content with the fact that he can obtain energy by killing living beings. Well, people should know how to be content. This is the truth Sumo learned from lying down in his previous life. Although only half of the energy points can be obtained, as the war demon continues to travel through the battlefield, slaughtering one 4th level monster after another, the energy points are gradually accumulated and become quite considerable. At this time on the battlefield, the 5th level demon generals were fighting on the monster side. They finally noticed the movement below and looked in shock at the war demon who was slaughtering their subordinates. When he sensed the gradually revealed aura of the war demon, he started cursing on the spot. Break your watermelon. With your extraordinary cultivation, you run down there to kill our demons? Advertisement. This guy has no moral principles. The unspoken rules of war don't allow for this kind of mess. Despicable human, Master Tiger, I'm going to eat him. You now, the commander of this mission, was also angry. You are AF ****** G transcendent being. But you hide your cultivation and go down there to kill the younger generation. Do you still have martial ethics? Brother Bloodthirsty, I leave it to you. We can no longer let this despicable human do whatever he wants down there. As Yu now finished speaking, a huge shadow rushed out from the extraordinary battlefield. It turned out to be a dragon covered in blood. It has a body of 1,000 meters in length, a single horn on its head, blood-red scales that gleam with a deep red luster, and an aura as vast as the abyss. The bloodthirsty dragon is a demon general at the peak of the late 5th stage, and the #1 demon under the command of the evil Dragon King. There exists a being whose strength is equivalent to that of a human half-step king, or even stronger. I saw its huge body swooping down, rushing towards the war demons on the battlefield below to kill them. Ants don't follow the rules, they deserve to be killed. The voice was filled with annoyance. Don't even think about it, you beast. Behind it, a person immediately chased out accompanied by an angry shout. It was Feng Xiaoyao. The green gale area spread down. Different from Xing Wuan's deadly gale, Feng Xiaoyao's wind was more agile and swift. Greater potential. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the swift green wind that covered the sky and the sun pressed down, trying to stop the bloodthirsty dragon. But with the same level of cultivation, the bloodthirsty dragon had already seized the initiative. Feng Xiaoyao took a step back, so how could he stop it first? Withdraw. At the same time, the leaders of each human team sensed the terrifying aura pressing down from the sky. Their faces suddenly changed, and they led their men to retreat to the side in a hurry. If they were affected by the approaching 5th-level monsters, they would definitely suffer heavy casualties. The 4th-level monsters also knew this, and quickly stopped fighting and retreated to both sides. Then he stared fiercely at the unethical war demon. That's not a moral code, right? Not following the rules, right? Just wait to be killed by the bloodthirsty Lord Dragon. The war demon who was releasing the waves of the abyss and killing indiscriminately naturally also noticed the movements around him and in the sky. He stopped, then slowly raised his head and looked at the bloodthirsty dragon swooping down with an expressionless face. Die. His voice was cold and merciless. As soon as the word, death, fell, he rushed directly into the sky, towards the bloodthirsty dragon. The speed was like a black lightning that cut through the void, countless times faster than that of the bloodthirsty dragon. Bound, 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 the horrific explosion of the body set off a series of sonic booms on the spot, causing the void to tremble. The bloodthirsty dragon swooped down, looking at the black spot that suddenly grew larger in front of its eyes, and began to realize something was wrong. Chapter 187 Great Dark Sky, Abyss Realm. It was clearly still 10,000 meters away, so why did it perceive that the damn ant is being in front of it in less than a moment? So fast? 10,000 meters in an instant. It's not teleportation, it's the physical body flying in the air to kill? Are you kidding me? This is comparable to the devil's physical body, right? Although he was horrified in his heart, the bloodthirsty dragon was after all the most powerful general under the evil Dragon King, and was a dragon that had seen many storms. Without giving it much thought, he quickly regained his composure, with a hint of sarcasm in his bloodshot eyes. Your body is indeed strong and fast, but to come to me so quickly, your brain is not working very well. As soon as it finished speaking, it opened its bloody mouth, and all of a sudden, the power of heaven and earth surged and gathered together. A breath of blood was brewing in his mouth. The horrifying aura distorted the void and created ripples. Just when the war demon was less than 100 meters away, the bloodthirsty dragon said nothing, with a fierce light in its eyes, and spewed out blood directly. Buzz. The compressed breath, with a diameter of hundreds of meters, pierced through the clouds with overwhelming force and shot towards the war demon. Wherever it passed, the air in the void was constantly shattered, like a wave rolling back, with ripples stirring. Feng Xiaoyao, who was approaching from behind, wanted to stop it, but it was too late. The gale field only managed to cover the bloodthirsty dragon. As for the bloody breath, he could only helplessly watch as the war demon who was about to meet him was completely submerged in it. The power of this breath is definitely one of the bloodthirsty dragon's killing moves, and its power is infinitely close to a casual attack from a powerful king. This damn beast actually used his ultimate move right at the start, not giving him any chance to rescue. Feng Xiaoyao had a grim look on his face. He was about to take advantage of the fatigue period after the ultimate move to kill the bloodthirsty dragon, but suddenly, phew, there was a slight sound of a curtain being torn, and as he watched in astonishment, first the blood-red breath column of the bloodthirsty dragon was cut in half by a strange long line that was filled with black air and looked like a crack in the void. Then his gale field was actually cut open by the fleeting long line, and then continued to cut towards the bloodthirsty dragon with unstoppable force. The most shocked one was the bloodthirsty dragon itself, because it was the only one who knew what the long black line was. His own breath was actually cut in half by the human ant's tyrannical means and the sword energy generated by one hand. Now it even broke through the wind field of another human who was half a step away from becoming a king. The dark blade energy continued to slash in front of its eyes with its breath in the blink of an eye, as if its own breath in the field of another human who was half a step away from becoming a king were just decorations and paper in front of it. The breath of death enveloped the bloodthirsty dragon, making it more aware of how terrifying the deep and strange sword energy was. Advertisement. How is this possible? A fellow who was less than 5 stars in the extraordinary level actually made it feel the same death oppression as Lord Evil Dragon King. Roar. Subconsciously, the bloodthirsty dragon roared angrily, and its scales exploded as it looked at the 1,000-meter-long sword energy coming towards it. Suddenly, a vast amount of blood gushed out from its body, and the power of heaven and earth around it quickly gathered towards it. With a full-strength burst, a layer of blood-colored dragon armor immediately condensed on the kilometer-long body, blood patterns spread, and the defense increased dramatically. Buzz. Not even reassuring, in order to slow down the abyss sword energy that was right in front of it, the bloodthirsty dragon once again spewed out a breath of dragon. This time it was several times more terrifying than the previous one. The void near the bloody mouth was violently twisted, and the bloodthirsty dragon's breath turned dark red. Extreme Dragon Breath, one of the truly most powerful killing moves. Add to that the reverse-scale blood dragon armor, and the two major strengths are fully revealed. Its life is threatened, and it can no longer care about anything else. If it keeps hiding it, it will have to wait until the next life to use it. The abyss blade energy still filled its huge pupils and was not slowed down even a little bit. Phew. Along with the sound of flesh being cut, the slender abyss blade energy directly penetrated into the center of the bloodthirsty dragon's eyebrows. Then, cut from the huge head to the tail. After a while, the abyssal blade energy dissipated, and time seemed to stand still. Feng Xiaoyao swallowed his saliva and stared at the motionless bloodthirsty dragon. Dead. Dead? In his perception, all the vitality of the bloodthirsty dragon had been swallowed up by the strange long line. Now, it seems that only an empty shell is left. If there wasn't someone else around, she would definitely have cursed. Where the hell did this freak come from? How could they possibly defeat King Feng who was unharmed? But Master Soul-Devouring Tiger, that dragon body that fell is indeed Master Bloodthirsty Dragon. How is it possible? The strength of the Bloodthirsty Dragon is enough to rank among the top ones below the Demon King. Although I, Tiger Master, claim to be invincible below the Demon King, I am not much of a match for it. How could it be? Killed by a mere 4-star extraordinary ant. There are so many reckless guys in the Yunj Tiger King lineup, I should provoke them and lure the soul-devouring tiger away. At this time, inside the black cloud of demonic energy, Mo Shui, who learned this scene from Chu Chengfeng, had a very gloomy face. I understand. Saint, please be careful. Advertisement. At the same time, they also discovered that the strength Chu Chengfeng could exert was actually stronger than Xing Wuan. Curtains of sky and sea spread out, and instantly covered the extraordinary battlefield in midair, blocking out the sky and the sun. It was like an ocean world, quiet and terrifying. Feng Xiaoyao and several other half-step kings tried to break through the curtains of sky and sea with their own domains, but how could a half-domain possibly rival a complete domain? The next moment, he appeared behind the war demon, and the water elemental power quickly condensed into a deep blue field. As his murmurs faded, a black sun began to slowly condense behind him, along with endless darkness. Even with the help of the light patterns of the Quincy array from the outside, it would be of no use. The extraordinary 4-star killed the bloodthirsty dragon that was equivalent to half a step to becoming a king in one move? The bloodthirsty dragon was killed instantly with one move, then. Doesn't that mean that even if I, Tiger Master, face that guy? Before he finished speaking, above the battlefield of the extraordinary realm, the war demon once again slaughtered the 3 fifth-order demon generals who joined forces to fight against him with powerful means before everyone could come to their senses. Although they were not big monsters on the level of the bloodthirsty dragon, they were not much different. However, they were still suppressed and killed by the war demon's domineering abyss fighting methods. After taking a deep breath and calming down, Mo Shui looked at Chu Chengfeng and said, "Senior Chu, you go deal with him." As he spoke, his figure turned into a stream of water and disappeared in an instant. Lord Bloodthirsty Dragon is dead. At the scene, Zan Mo was probably the calmest. Or should we say, his emotions, other than indifference, never change. Turning around, facing Chu Chengfeng, who was standing in the center of the domain and overlooking them, he murmured indifferently, "Great Dark Sky, Abyss Domain." Looking at the group of extraordinary bosses with ugly faces, Chu Chengfeng smiled and said, "Are you wondering why my strength is stronger than Lao Xing? That's naturally because I'm not injured at all. My 10th level strength was suppressed by 1 or 2 levels by this fake formation. With 8 levels left, I'm naturally stronger than Lao Xing, right? Also, acting is also very simple, isn't it? As a cloud monkey under the evil Dragon King with the same status as the bloodthirsty dragon and having worked with it for many years, its face at this moment is definitely the ugliest in the evil Dragon King's camp. The bloodthirsty dragon is one of its rare friends, and it was all its fault that it harmed it. In despair, at this moment, all the extraordinary people cannot even condense their realm. Snap. This guy fooled Coach Lu. A crisp sound confirmed Feng Xiaoyao's words. The bloodthirsty dragon's body slid into 2 halves and fell straight down. The bloodthirsty dragon, the most powerful general under the evil Dragon King, died. It's too late to say anything now. Not to mention the 2 thieves in black robes before, now there is another unpredictable and weird guy. Hateful. Hearing this, Chu Chengfeng frowned slightly. Saintus, now that group of monsters still has the advantage in the number of 5th-level demon generals. Judging from the situation of Lao Xing, he should be able to deal with the 10 half-step kings one by one. I think I should stay and protect you for the time being. Nodding, Chu Chengfeng looked up in the direction of the war demon and said indifferently, 1 minute, I will take him down in 1 minute and come back. Why is there no record of such an existence in the information database that the Black Rock Church has collected for thousands of years? Mo Shui took a deep breath again. Now, do you think Senior Xing should kill those 10 half-step kings first, or should that guy kill all the 5th-level demon generals on our side first? After these words were spoken, Feng Xiaoyao and the others felt somewhat desperate. Chapter 188. Why is it so outrageous? The black evil shadow of the sun slowly emerged, and the world gradually dimmed. Chu Chengfeng also obviously noticed something was wrong. Is this guy's domain? But it's just a half domain. What's the point of condensing it now? As he finished speaking, the war demon's perfect fighting body that he was looking down upon. Bang! A vast aura emerged, and his cultivation level, which was originally at the 4th star of the Transcendent Realm, directly entered the 5th star. And this is just the beginning. Bang, bang, bang. The vast aura of the extraordinary realm continues to rise. 6 stars, 7 stars, 8 stars, 9 stars. The aura did not stop until it reached the peak of 9 stars. Compared with before, the war demon at this moment had such a terrifying aura that it even caused ripples in the void around him. Like a demon, his aura is deep and cold. Seeing this, Chu Chengfeng frowned slightly. Is this guy hiding his strength? The cultivation aura of Zan Mo before was that of the extraordinary 4 stars, which could be sensed by everyone present. He even took a careful look at it with his kingly perception, and it was indeed just a transcendent 4-star level. But the current situation is obviously a hidden accomplishment. And with his terrifying perception at the beginning of the King Realm, he couldn't even sense this. Chu Chengfeng frowned, but soon shook his head. Even if you step into the transcendent 9 stars, it's still only transcendent, and only half a realm. The gap like a chasm cannot be made up. Buzz. A loud roar suddenly sounded in the deep sea, causing Chu Chengfeng, who had just finished speaking, to freeze. Feng Xiaoyao and other powerful men were also startled by the roar that seemed to explode in their souls, and turned to look at the war demon. The voice came from the war demon. To be precise, it was the gradually solidifying black sun behind him. After consuming energy and climbing to the peak of the extraordinary 9 stars, the abyss realm of the war demon, the great dark sky, began to condense. At this moment, the light on the water curtain in the deep sea area was gradually swallowed up. The originally dark blue area gradually dimmed, as if Chu Chengfeng's area was about to be swallowed up. Replaced by this darkness, advertisement the black sun behind the war demon gradually rose to the center, and evil black ripples continued to spread out. The sound of waves in the area also stopped, turning into a pool of stagnant water, terrifyingly quiet. A strange black haze gradually lingered everywhere in the world, and even deep black whirlpools began to appear. It gradually turned into an abyss. Buzz. After another buzzing sound, the black sun stood completely in the center, as if it was the center of the world, hanging high there. The black ripples became more and more intense, and all kinds of negative emotions began to spread around everyone. Fear, despair, confusion, anxiety, bewilderment. These negative emotions constantly trigger the most vulnerable points in people's hearts. And outside, the Sea of Heaven curtain that was originally the deep sea area no longer existed, and it turned into a dark and deep darkness. It was like the arrival of night, where it was difficult to distinguish one's fingers, and the darkness was spreading continuously, covering all directions, like an abyss that would swallow up everyone before it would stop. What's going on? Why? Why has the sky become so dark? Is it the domain of those extraordinary bosses above? But this scale, and this oppressive feeling, is too uncomfortable. Is this really just the domain of the extraordinary bosses? Shit. It's spreading to the battlefield below us. What's the point of fighting this? This is the power of God. On the battlefield below, the human awakeners were all stunned and unable to move by the series of strange changes in the sky. Unable to sense what was happening above, they began to become anxious and uneasy. I could only stare blankly at the sky being gradually swallowed up. On the monster side, the 4th level monsters also began to stop attacking, trembling as they watched the deep and spreading haze. The bloodthirstiness in his eyes was gradually replaced by fear. Even General Long and others who were fighting fiercely with Xing Wuan above were alarmed. He quickly focused his attention on the darkness below, and then his face was filled with horror. Be crowned as a king. One is Chu Chengfeng. Who is the other one? Chu Chengfeng's water domain has been suppressed. This person is very strong, at least he is close to the middle stage of the king. Although I don't know where he came from, I can be sure that he is not an enemy. Did the government send another strong man over? The 10 half-step kings of the demon suppression army were extremely shocked and secretly guessed. Xing Wuan also sensed the movement below at the first moment. He had even stopped sensing it the moment Chu Chengfeng appeared. As for Zan Mo, he didn't pay much attention to him, so now he is confused and shocked. At this moment, Chu Chengfeng, who was in the abyss, had his eyes widened. My domain was swallowed up. Due to the annihilation array, although the strength of the Yunj Tiger King, who was at the peak of the middle stage of the Demon King, was suppressed, it was still quite difficult for Lu Tianhe to deal with him. He could only barely remain undefeated and could not gain any advantage at all. Duan Xingyun and the other two were all confused. Advertisement at this moment, the 6 kings were all stunned and quickly lowered their perception. Judging from the situation, it should be Chu Changfeng who released the domain first, but was then suppressed by the domain of another king. The overwhelming white jade sword energy immediately faced the dragon energy and dragon breath. Such power is comparable to the blood sea domain that Lu Tianhe has integrated a trace of his will into. Outside the edge of the earth, the light was surging and turbulent, and the gravity was even distorted and chaotic. And on the last battlefield, the female martial queen Duan Xingyun fought hard against the Black Lotus Holy Envoy. The female commander of the god-killing army had been beaten by the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, and the three humans were now more certain of being crowned kings. In the other two battlefields, Lu Tianhe and the Yunj Tiger King fought together. It was divided into 3 battlefields, even devour and defeat. 10,000 swords, stab, and why is this field so outrageous? After a while, Yunj Tiger King sneered and said, it's hidden deep enough that there is even a king. He stared at the war demon with confusion in his eyes. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy was indeed the strongest being, at the peak of the middle stage of the King Realm, with 1 foot halfway into the late stage. At the edge of the vast starry sky, the figures of the 6 kings were constantly shuttling back and forth in fierce battle. At this time, the evil Dragon King had already recovered his own dragon body. The towering dragon body, which was thousands of meters long, was not as majestic and domineering as the Eastern Dragon. Instead, it was extremely evil, with inky dragon scales, black horns and black pupils, and its dragon whiskers emitted an inky black light, as if it was an evil dragon derived from hell, very ferocious. But why can it condense into a complete field? They dare to guarantee that the king who casts the evil domain is not their man. In the first battlefield, the evil Dragon King fought fiercely with Yi Wuchen to avenge the sword mark he had left decades ago. Even when being suppressed, he was able to display a strength far beyond the mid-stage peak, and even in terms of willpower, he had a deep understanding. What is going on below? The attacks of the two collided, and loud roars exploded in the universe, shaking continuously. If such a power were to explode in the territory below, it would be truly unimaginable. Not to mention what would happen to the two people. The land within a radius of thousands of miles would definitely be razed to the ground, and no one else, whether it was diamonds or extraordinary beings, would be spared. It is indeed the 9th star in the extraordinary realm. Being in the sword realm, Yi Wuchen was not in a hurry. His cultivation at the peak of the middle stage of the king realm completely exploded. A sharp sword pillar hummed, and terrifying sword intent filled the surroundings. Standing in the center of the sword realm, connecting the sky and the earth, facing the dragon energy and dragon breath that were coming at him, he shouted lowly and thrust the white jade sword in his hand straight forward. Bang, bang, bang. In many aspects, Duan Xingyun is far behind. Now that she can barely withstand the pressure from the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, she is considered extremely strong. The huge dragon body kept dancing and floating in the starry sky, with dark dragon energy surging. The real dragon breath, which was more terrifying than the bloodthirsty dragon, seemed to not consume the energy of blood. One after another, it penetrated the void and killed Yi Wuchen. An existence in the middle stage of the King Realm? Chapter 189. One person is enough to kill. Sensing that his Tianhai territory was about to be completely swallowed up, Chu Changfeng was extremely horrified. Congeal. At that moment, he could no longer care about anything else. He let out a low roar, and urged the spiritual energy and mental power in his body to ultimate, trying to maintain the last bit of possibility in the Tianhai domain. If he didn't react, he would really be defeated by the war demon. Crash. The less than 1/10 of the sky and sea area that remained once again erupted with terrifying waves. However, something happened that made Chu Changfeng despair. After he frantically mobilized all his strength, the Tianhai realm did fight back for a few seconds, but after these few seconds, the speed at which the boundless darkness swallowed it increased and became even more rapid. Not only did it not slow down, but it swallowed even more fiercely. At this moment, in Chu Changfeng's perception, he was even unable to condense his own domain again, and as the endless darkness became deeper and deeper and swallowed faster and faster, all kinds of negative emotions made him start to become a little irritable, and no longer as calm as before. Xing Wuan, who was fighting with 10 half-step kings above, frowned when he saw this. Chu Changfeng, you. In his perception, Chu Changfeng was sinking deeper and deeper into darkness, and the only remaining Tianhai territory was completely replaced. The situation inside is also unknown. This situation is not good. If anything happens to Chu Changfeng, the situation of this battle will change. It would be difficult for him to deal with this sudden and mysterious king by himself. We must go down to provide support. Thinking of this, the wind armor condensed by the power of heaven and earth on Xing Wuan's towering body suddenly grew stronger, becoming more violent and fierce, and then changed direction and rushed down hard. In midair, he ordered in a cold voice, "Demon generals, I will go below to provide support, and the rest is up to you." Some 5th-level demon generals who had not yet been enveloped by the abyss hurriedly went to meet the 10 half-step kings. Although they were unhappy with Xing Wuan's tone, they also knew that only Xing Wuan could enter the realm of the complete body below and then help the other king of the Black Rock Church. Otherwise, once that king was defeated, they would be the next to suffer. If a king wanted to leave, even the generals and others could not stop him. They could only watch helplessly as Xing Wuan plunged into the darkness below. In fact, it was Zan Mo who intentionally let Xing Wuan in. Otherwise, if he wanted, Xing Wuan would not be able to come in even if his eagle head was crooked. Now letting him in, buy one get one free, just saves trouble. As for whether it would be stressful to fight against 2 kings alone with the extraordinary 9 stars, that would depend on whether the master has enough energy points. Oh, in the Abyss realm, Xing Wuan was constantly fighting against the dark haze. Although he was surprised at how easy it was to enter this realm, he did not think much about it. After coming to Chu Changfeng's side, he looked at Chu Changfeng coldly and said, "When you were chased by Lu Tianhe before, you really concealed your cultivation." Advertisement seeing Xing Wuan rushing to support him, Chu Changfeng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. "I will apologize to you later. Now, the guy in armor is the top priority." With a cold snort, Xing Wuan looked at Zan Mo with his huge eagle eyes, and then he was stunned. Transcendent realm? What the hell? Isn't it the peak or middle stage of the early stage of becoming a king? I came down with great determination to fight, but how come the enemy is an extraordinary ant? And this evil realm was condensed by the extraordinary ant in front of him? Are you sure this isn't a joke? Looking at Zan Mo seriously again, Xing Wuan was even more confused. It is indeed the extraordinary realm. Chu Changfeng transmitted his voice. "Don't be careless, this guy is very strange. We don't know what power this domain has, but what is certain is that this guy's combat power is as terrifying as Lu Tianhe." After he finished speaking, Xing Wuan felt numb. A transcendent 9-star being, not only could he condense his complete body domain, but his strength could even rival that of a mid-stage king realm. What would happen if he entered the realm of becoming a king? Gurgle, subconsciously swallowing his saliva, Xing Wuan would rather fight Lu Tianhe than deal with the guy in front of him. This extremely depressing and bizarre realm made him feel even more uncomfortable than a sea of blood. He had a sense of being unable to move freely. In the entire abyss, the black sun suddenly shook, and the darkness everywhere immediately turned into a series of deep pitch-black mouths with sharp fangs. However, faced with this overwhelming killing move that even the powerful kings had to avoid, the war demon simply stretched out a hand. But before leaving, Feng Xiaoyao still said respectfully, "Senior, please be careful, we will fight outside. If it doesn't work, you can call and we will rush in." Why do I need help? Although this senior has a somewhat peculiar personality, he is able to suppress Chu Changfeng's domain, so he must have enough confidence. Then they won't hinder their seniors. Chu Changfeng did the same. He no longer tried to condense the domain, but transformed the power of heaven and earth in his body into a large area of sea, several thousand meters wide. The terrifying power of heaven and earth within it constantly took shape of murderous intentions. The waves, torrents, whirlpools, and billions of gravities squeezed by the seawater all killed the war demon. Oh, he fights the devil, who is the incarnation of the abyss. He is a knife in the hands of his master, an invincible knife. Feng Xiaoyao and the others looked at each other, then rushed towards the black haze in the sky. Advertisement on. After saying that, he was the last one to rush out of the black haze that automatically opened the entrance. After all the human extraordinary people had left, the entrance closed again. The rest of the 5th-level demon generals who wanted to chase them out were immediately bounced back by the haze. The words fell. Before he finished speaking, Zan Mo interrupted him indifferently, "Let's go, I am enough." Seeing this, Chu Changfeng's face darkened. "Do you want to trap us in your domain and kill us?" Feng Xiaoyao stared at the countless 5th-ranked demon generals and 2 sealed kings who were shrouded in darkness, and said solemnly, "Senior, let us help you together. After all, there are 2 sealed kings and a large number of demon generals on the opposite side. You alone. War demon. If you don't leave, you will die." The other 5th-order monsters were equally strong. They all pushed their bloodline power to the ultimate level and used all of their inherited killing moves. For a moment, the dark area was filled with colorful lights and the aura of destruction. The cold and merciless voice made everyone feel as if their bones were frozen. Then, it pounced and bit from all directions, like a huge mouth from the abyss, extremely evil. Devouring and killing. As soon as he finished speaking, accompanied by a cry, the power of heaven and earth stored in his body burst out completely, no longer reserved, and all of a sudden, endless strong winds turned into various killing offensives, sweeping towards the war demon. Therefore, this battle is very important and will determine the direction of this war. The war demon finished speaking. At this moment, the 5th-level demon generals who were shrouded in the abyss accounted for almost 80%. Together with him and Xing Wuan, it was equivalent to that the main forces of their Black Rock Church and the monsters were all here. If they were really killed here, the battle situation would definitely favor the federal government. Feng Xiaoyao and the others were stunned. Another half-step king on the human side quickly said, "Senior, you are alone." But he also said that if humans hinder his performance, then, they will be killed. Hold it tightly. The master's order is that human lives must not be killed, and if necessary, they should be rescued. This brother. Senior. This group of humans in front of him wanted to help him within his territory? Xing Wuan turned his head and looked at the cloud monkey, soul-devouring tiger and other great monsters at the peak of the 5th stage and the late stage. Everyone, you should know what the situation is now. The 2 of us will lead the attack, and you will assist from the side. Use your trump cards, go. In the eyes of the war demon, it is an obstacle to his own power. At this time, a group of powerful humans approached the war demon. Chapter 190. Damn, I'm confused. Click, click, the endless darkness transformed into a series of pitch-black evil-biting mouths, which pounced on the murderous intent. The moment the elemental attack came into contact with the sharp teeth and huge mouth, it was bitten into it immediately, and then being swallowed up. Like a small stone dropped into the water, it does not cause any ripples. And after swallowing up the murderous intent in the sky, those huge mouths of the abyss continued to pounce towards Chu Changfeng and others with undiminished power. Moreover, in the process of killing, the haze of heaven and earth continued to evolve into more huge mouths, making crackling sounds, just like hungry ghosts in the abyss, looking for targets to bite greedily. Such a scene made Chu Changfeng and a group of 5th-level demon generals turn pale, and a chill ran straight from their spines to their foreheads. So creepy. What is this thing? It's too evil, isn't it? What should we do? Our innate killer moves have all been swallowed up by that guy. And even the offensive of Saint Envoy Chu and the other two was swallowed up. The demon generals were affected by the negative emotions in the area, and their own offensive was ineffective. For a moment, everyone was in a state of confusion, talking at once and starting to get stage fright. Only Chu Changfeng and Xing Wuan, the two kings, could still maintain a bit of composure. Of course, they were all holding on. If even they become helpless, then they will probably just be slaughtered by the war demon. After taking a deep breath, Chu Changfeng immediately ordered, "Everyone calm down. Although this huge mouth can swallow our attacks, it definitely can't bear it forever. This kind of superpower has a limit. Attack, keep attacking. As long as we break that limit, we will definitely break his defense." As soon as he finished speaking, the abyss of sharp teeth filled the sky and pounced in front of the monsters. Without caring about anything else, the monsters could only keep fleeing while using their innate killing moves to attack the war demon. However, within the abyss, there is darkness and whirlpools of haze everywhere. Ah, hateful. During their escape, some 5th-order demon generals were careless and fell into the dark sharp teeth that they were unable to defend against. Then they were bitten madly, making creepy sounds of chewing flesh and bones. Seeing this, Chu Changfeng and Xing Wuan's faces turned extremely dark. They were in this evil area, facing the unknown attack. They had no way of sensing it in advance. The interference of all kinds of negative emotions in the deep darkness like a quagmire are so depressing and disgusting. And the most disgusting thing is why they have already launched so many killing moves at the war demon, one round after another. Why hasn't the vortex that's blocking the outside like a black hole been saturated yet? This is totally not following the rules. Advertisement. With so much energy, can't they burst a small vortex? Vomited. I vomited. In fact, if they knew, the war demon wouldn't even need to use his devouring instinct for protection. What would you think if the pervert's physical strength alone could defend against these deadly moves? I'm afraid he would kneel down in despair and shout, "Surrender," on the spot? The war demon's devouring instinct is only to feed itself, although the energy obtained cannot be compared with the level of energy point evolution. But at least it can save a lot of energy points for the owner. Well, the war demon only defended it to help the master save energy points. There is no other meaning. Click, click, click. At this time, as the sharp teeth of the abyss continued to devour one 5th-level demon general after another, corpses were flying everywhere in the abyss, blood was gushing out, and the smell of blood had reached a peak, making the realm even more eerie and terrifying. It was at this time, Chu Changfeng, who was constantly attacking the war demon, seemed to realize something and his eyes narrowed. He suddenly raised his head to look at the black sun that had been standing high in the sky, and shouted angrily, "Sun! The black sun! The core of this realm should be the black sun. Hurry, destroy it." Hearing this, the 5th-level demon generals who had already despaired seemed to see the light again. Damn it! Look at my most powerful killing move, the soul-devouring roar. Damn it! Why am I so stupid that I didn't even notice this problem? We can't help it. This area has the ability to influence our thinking. Our mental strength is not enough and we have been confused. Fortunately, Saint Envoy Chu has strong willpower at the level of a king. Brothers, sacrifice your blood. Use your most powerful killing moves. A group of 5th-level demon generals roared immediately, and their towering bodies flew towards the abyss sky. One after another, deadly moves brewed from the sacrificial bloodline blasted towards the black sun without caring about their lives. For a moment, the entire abyss was illuminated in an instant. Although it could only last less than a second, it was enough to prove it. But they no longer cared about these things, and all looked at the black sun in the sky with hope. Sumo, who was watching all this through a shared perspective, was also surprised by the atmosphere. But when he came to his senses, he chuckled and ordered, "War demon, I don't need you to save energy for me. Go, kill those two kings, and the energy will come naturally." When the fireworks slowly faded away, a demon general shouted in surprise, "That evil sun has really shrunk." Accompanied by an ultimate shrill cry, Xing Wuan's wings, which could reach thousands of meters in length, were chopped off on the spot. In less than a second, it turned into a black shadow giant with unchanged proportions and a size of several thousand meters. Evil black lines covered its body, constantly swallowing up the haze from all directions. Advertisement, it must succeed, otherwise, Master Tiger will not be able to bear it. Oh. I saw that the evil black abyss evil sun with black ripples constantly floating around had indeed become smaller, but its appearance at this moment was a little strange. The entire evil sun was being squeezed and made a horrible sound as if it was chewing something. It keeps growing bigger and bigger. Suddenly, blood spilled into the sky and wails of grief echoed throughout. He is confused. Oh, buzz. A roar loud enough to shake the entire abyss was heard, and a large amount of fireworks exploded and completely submerged the evil sun. Xing Wuan didn't say anything. After a roar, the vast power of heaven and earth in his body immediately took shape of a 10,000-meter tall wind dragon. The dragon danced with its body, majestic and magnificent. Every move was enough to cause a natural disaster storm. Then it slammed towards the black sun with the force of thunder. The power is countless times more terrifying than the killing moves of the demon generals. Boom, woo. After a while, under the blank gaze of the demon generals, it became several times larger than before. The evil sun of the abyss suddenly grew bigger and bigger. This time, the killer move is definitely far beyond the previous ones. They're fighting hard. Seeing this scene, Chu Chengfeng, who always had good qualities, couldn't help but swear on the spot, with a look of despair on his face. When the killing move was launched, the monsters did not dare to stop. Even though they were just getting over the fatigue from regaining their strength, they were still frantically avoiding the sharp teeth of the abyss that were constantly biting at them. However, some monsters were still devoured tragically, which was very miserable. Did it work? The demon generals held their breath and looked up at the sky nervously. Grass. When he appeared again, a pitch-black leg axe that covered the sky and the sun had already landed on the towering evil body of Xing Wuan, who had a confused look on his face. And in the next moment, hearing this, the war demon nodded, and his devouring instinct that was protecting him disappeared immediately. Along with the addition of the purest darkness in the abyss, his perfect fighting body continued to rise and grow larger. The terrifying feeling of oppression instantly made all the monsters unable to move. Damn it. Even a demon lord at the peak of his early stage will have to dodge this attack. That black sun will definitely break apart. Even more intense negative emotions immediately gushed out, and those deep and sharp teeth actually opened, making a laugh like a baby crying, which was extremely terrifying. Suddenly, the war demon's majestic body took a step forward, merged into the darkness and disappeared. Chapter 191. The Black Lotus Saint's trump card. The shrill wails echoed throughout the entire abyss and reached the ears of the demon generals who were still in a daze. Sniff. Xing Wuan's 1,000-meter-long wings fell down along with blood all over the sky, and were then swallowed up by the endless darkness. And this is not over yet. Die. After a kick, the war demon's dark eyes were deep and indifferent, revealing endless murderous intent. He loomed over like a demon god, and directly grabbed Xing Wuan, who was trying to escape. He held his neck with his left hand and grabbed the wing on the other side with his right hand, and the surging power burst out again. Tear it up, oh! Another scream of pain rang out, and Xing Wuan's other wing was violently torn apart, with blood gushing out. The thunderous attack at this instant made Xing Wuan's mind go blank and he was very confused. But the pain in his body made him realize that he was not far from death, and despair, endless despair gradually surged in his heart. What are you still in a daze about? With his neck strangled, Xing Wuan looked with difficulty at Chu Chengfeng and a group of 5th-level demon generals who were still in a daze. He was immediately furious. Laozi was about to be cut into sticks, and these guys were still in a daze? Grass. My mentality has collapsed. A desperate and hoarse scream immediately came out of Xing Wuan's mouth. If I die, you will be next. Why don't you come and save me? After these words fell, all the monsters, including Chu Chengfeng, trembled, but they had already come to their senses. The hope in my eyes has been filled with despair, and I am at a loss. After all, at this moment, they are facing the evil fangs of the abyss and all kinds of attacks hidden in the abyss. I can hardly protect myself and I can't get away. In the end, Chu Chengfeng tried his best to dodge all the attacks and killed the war demon. Roar, using the water element and the power of heaven and earth, he created a violently roaring blue giant, trying to rescue Xing Wuan from the hands of the war demon. But before he got close, buzz! A huge black hole suddenly emerged, covering the sky and the sun. It was several times larger than the dark blue giant that Chu Chengfeng had imagined. It is majestic and deep, and the black hole is still expanding. Its area is already large enough to cover half of the abyss. Of course, the energy in the war demon's body was also being consumed crazily. Since the master said that the battle should be resolved quickly, he would not waste any time. The inherited killing move, the Abyss Netherworld Point, came out, and the terrifying devouring gravity and tearing force made Chu Chengfeng feel like he was about to die. He quickly stopped and continued to retreat. Can't save. Advertisement: he couldn't save Xing Wuan. If he insists on rushing towards this terrifying black hole, he will definitely be the first to die. Even if he retreated explosively at this moment, it would be difficult for him to avoid the suction of the Netherworld Point. Your life is at stake. Chu Chengfeng, Xing Wuan, who sensed all this, could only scream hoarsely, and the last glimmer of hope in his eyes completely disappeared. Damn it. Damn it. I shouldn't have rushed down to support this ungrateful thing. It shouldn't be like this. His flesh and blood were being devoured, his breath became increasingly weak, and Xing Wuan soon degenerated into a human form. At this moment, his arms were broken, his lips were white, and he was held in the skylifting demon's palm. He looked up at the war demon's cold and ruthless eyes and begged humbly, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, sir. I, Xing Wuan, am willing to follow you. I am willing to be your slave. Before he could finish his words, an exquisite evil ancient pattern appeared on his forehead, surrounded by a hazy black mist. It was the black rock seal of the Black Rock Church. Ah, as soon as the exquisite ancient pattern appeared, Xing Wuan immediately let out a miserably howl. His soul is burning. Apart from the leader, only the lotus mark of the contemporary saint can imprint the mark of the holy envoy level. It can not only nourish the flesh and blood of the imprinted person and delay the aging of life, but also slowly improve the strength of the soul. Of course, with such benefits, if one dares to betray the Holy Church, one will suffer the pain of soul burning. A torture worse than death. Glancing at Xing Wuan in the devil's clutches, the war demon remained indifferent and clenched his skylifting devil's clutches tightly. Under Xing Wuan's painful and desperate gaze, his vision gradually turned black. After a sound of flesh being squeezed was heard, the ruler of this secret realm, a giant in the early stage of becoming a king, came out. He was crushed into a pulp on the spot and then swallowed. Chu Chengfeng, who was trying to avoid the nether cave in a hurry, was stunned. Old Xing. Dead. This fateful rival who had dominated the secret realm with him for many years was actually dead. It's not that I feel sad for Xing Wuan, but I feel a sense of confusion and fear that one's teeth will be in danger if the lips are gone. Will the next one be Chu Chengfeng? No, he doesn't want to die. Under the reckless squandering, the lethality of the war demon at this moment really stunned Sumo. It is several times more than the extraordinary realm. Advertisement, no. But no matter how unwilling and angry he was in his heart, facing the terrifying netherworld cave, he could only struggle on the road to death. Is Xing Wuan dead? The system's cold voice came. This king was not killed by the host himself, so it cannot trigger the special reward. It needs to be killed by the host or shadow clone to be considered a personal kill and trigger it. This is only half, that is to say, a normal giant in the early stage of the king realm can get more than 1 million. At this time, all around, the 5th level demon generals had already been enveloped by the netherworld cave. Coupled with the threat of the sharp teeth of the abyss, they were accidentally swallowed up into the netherworld cave by the horrible suction force, and then one after another were strangled and swallowed to death. System. I thought the host could understand the meaning of killing personally. What about special rewards? Looking at the boundless darkness with a solemn expression, Mo Shui gritted her teeth and quickly sent a message to the Black Lotus Saint Envoy. Master Black Lotus, take out that thing. Despair, it's so despairing. Su Mo was in a good mood after receiving the prompts in his mind. He then looked at the more special box mixed in the prompt boxes, which was the reward for killing the powerful king. Although it is only half, but with so many 5th level demon generals added together, it is also a considerable harvest. Nearly 600,000. Outside the edge of the starry sky, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, who was sitting cross-legged on the Black Lotus, nodded helplessly upon hearing this. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the 5th order demon general, the peak soul-devouring tiger, and obtained 102,473 energy points. When the netherworld point grows to the point where he has no way to retreat, that will be the day he dies. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the king-level early awakener and obtained 581,034 energy points. Why only get energy points? If he had said it earlier, he would have asked the war demon to cripple him and leave it to him. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the 5th order demon general early stage lava python and obtained 61,667 energy points. Although only half of the energy points were credited, but at the same time, he was very happy because the benefits that the war demon brought to his master were far greater than the consumption of the war demon. Ding! The host's contracted puppet war demon killed the 5th order demon general, the mid-stage nebula demon tiger, and obtained 87,033 energy points. Sumo looked delighted, but then he was stunned. System, where's the special reward for me killing a king-level creature? What's going on? While Sumo was bickering with the system, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy who was fighting at the edge of the starry sky and Mo Shui who was in the black cloud of demonic energy both froze in expression. Sumo took a deep breath and said with a dark face, why didn't you say it earlier? Ding! The host contracted puppet war demon killed the 5th level. Sumo. System, I suspect you were implying something. He finally made it to the outside world and had a chance to go further. How could he die? Chapter 192. Fear of the evil creatures from outer space. Sighing, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy showed a hint of helplessness on his calm face. Accidents are indeed everywhere. At first, he thought that this sudden attack would be able to suppress this secret realm with great force. After all, even he was sent. However, unexpectedly, the federal government realized this earlier. I would rather sacrifice the fighting on the front line and send the God-killing legion to set up defenses in advance. What the federal government also did not expect was the mysterious background of the Black Rock Church and the importance they attached to this secret place. This turned a series of plans into passive defense. But now, just when their Black Rock Church was clearly gaining a slight advantage in the battle with the monsters, the federal government gave them another big surprise. the federal government sent another ruthless man. In a flash, the war turned to the federal government, and it was the turn of the Black Rock Church and the two demon lords to worry. Life is like a game of chess, and the outcome is unpredictable until the very end. So much so that now, he, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, one of the 9 Saint Envoys, has to play his trump card. Thinking of this, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy frowned and hesitated for a long time. He finally took out a gray and rustic box with a strong aura of resentment from his arms with difficulty. On the box, there were talismans pasted on it, which emitted a faint dark light and evil lines attached to the surface of the box. Woohoo! The extremely strong resentment caused slight ghost howling sounds to be heard all around. While easily dealing with Duan Xingyun, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy warned the box. Remember, after I let you out, you must listen to me, otherwise next time, you won't have a chance to come out again. Suddenly, a creepy laugh came from the box. Ha 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 ha, what if I say no? The voice is hoarse and eerie, sometimes it sounds like the cry of an owl, sometimes it sounds like the laughter of a baby. Advertisement multiple sounds mixed together, so evil. Hearing this, the Black Lotus Saint's eyes, which had been tightly closed, opened, revealing a pair of pupils with black lotuses. At the same time, there are endless confusions. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy nodded. Okay, I hope you can keep your promise. At the end of the conversation, he added, boy, I kindly remind you that after killing the others, if you still want to fight that thing, run away quickly. That thing cannot be killed. The abyss is everywhere. Suddenly, the voice in the box stopped and fell silent. Hearing the fear in the voice, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy was startled at first, and then sneered. Why? I remember when I dug you out of that place, you looked down on everything on our planet, even on us little kings. You are so high and mighty, how could you be afraid of anything? The voice in the box was trembling at this moment. Why did the thing in the darkness below appear on this small planet? Wait. You mean, you called me out to deal with that thing? The voice curled its lips. I don't know. If all the creatures in the universe knew that the abyss actually protected the human race, let alone being surprised, they would never dare to bully the human race. Do you know how humble the human race is in the universe? How can a small human race come into contact with the abyss? Don't say you are confused, I am also confused to death. Even the being in the box said so, what should he do? Before the Black Lotus Saint Envoy could speak, his voice trembled again and he said, that is the abyss. Even if I am a soul from the top of the myriad races, facing an abyss of equal size, I will only die. The voice in the box continued, if you let me deal with that thing, I will never come out, even if you bury me back there. Although the abyss seems very weak now, and can't even reach the Little King realm, I don't want to touch it. The horror and treacherousness of the abyss cannot be easily tested. But if you ask me to help you break this small formation and deal with the Little King realm in front of you, it's no problem. After all, it would be a pity if the resentment of this battlefield is not absorbed. Taking a deep breath, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy asked solemnly, are you saying that the being that released this dark realm is also from outer space like you? Seeing the abnormality in the box, the Black Lotus Saint asked in confusion, what's wrong? He dug out this evil box from a forbidden area. When he first learned some incredible news from the creature in the box, both he and their supreme deputy leader were filled with disbelief. That's a lot of information. His voice was still trembling, and he even asked angrily, do you know what that is? Advertisement this, strange. It's so strange. How could a small dead world like yours, or even a garbage life planet under this small world, with only a bunch of garbage monsters and ant-like humans, attract the abyss? Hearing the unbelievable tone in the voice, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy was shocked. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy frowned. You said that the abyss is so powerful, why does it obey the federal government and the humans? It's obvious that it is targeting our Black Rock Church and the monsters. He stared at the box. I wouldn't mind burying you in that place again. After that, he praised with a hint of admiration, boy, I'm beginning to think highly of you. You actually dared to face the abyss. If the creatures in the heavens and myriad worlds knew about this, they would definitely give you a thumbs up. The voice in the box has regained some composure, but still said fearfully, it is an existence that all races in the heavens and myriad worlds and countless evil creatures fear. Also, that thing is not a human. Don't worry, as long as we are not facing the abyss, this small broken formation, and the 3 little kings, as long as I absorb the resentment of all the dead creatures in the surrounding area, I can easily defeat them. This time, the ancient box was silent. After a moment, it laughed strangely and said, I know. I felt awe for the existence in the box, and at the same time I felt awe for the heavens and myriad worlds in the message. Why would the federal government have contact with such a being? Hearing this, the Black Lotus Saint fell silent. He looked towards the darkness below where the war demon was, and his eyes subconsciously showed a hint of fear. As he said that, he tore off a talisman on the box, and saw wisps of gray yin energy slowly flowing out from the gap in the box. With ghosts howling and wolves howling, the yin energy was extremely dense. A trace of yin chi flowed out from the gap of the talisman, and returned after wandering for a while. The box let out another strange cry. Wow, such a strong resentment. Good boy, you should have informed me earlier about such a good place. Maybe my resentment will surge again, huh? But at this moment, this existence that they revered actually said that the ruthless man sent by the federal government below was not from this world, and it seemed that he was still a very terrifying existence. With his brows tightly furrowed, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy was no longer calm. Could it be that it was just like the existence in this box, drifting into their world and discovered by the federal government? Finally, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy said firmly, "You said that the strength of the abyss is not even at the king realm at the moment. If I go to hold him back, it should be no problem, right? And you have to help me break this extinction array, and severely injure the three sealed kings. It would be even better if you can kill them." Chapter 193. The extermination array is broken, and the demonic flame rises again. Hee. As the gray yin energy continued to overflow from the ancient box, the sound of Yin Jia's ghostly screams quietly spread throughout the battlefield. In an instant, the temperature in the entire extinction array dropped suddenly and became bone-chillingly cold. This is Duan Xingyun, who was fighting with the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, frowned. From the very beginning, she had a bad feeling, but she couldn't tell where it came from. But now, with this sudden laughter, the feeling of being suffocated in his heart became more and more intense. He stared at the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, because the strong feeling of discomfort was emitted by the king of the Black Rock Church. Yi Wuchen and Lu Tianhe did the same. They paid their attention and looked in the direction of the Black Lotus Saint Envoy with frowns. Even the Evil Dragon King and the Cloud Tiger King slowed down their attacks and looked at the Black Lotus Saint Envoy in confusion. As the laughter became more and more unbridled, the other human awakeners and monsters who were fighting also sensed that something was wrong. What's that sound? It's laughter. It sounds so miserable, doesn't it? Where did it come from? I got goosebumps. Ghost laugh. Just when everyone was in doubt, a strange laugh suddenly sounded. Great. This extremely dense resentment and death energy is simply prepared for the souls of our soul clan. After so many years, finally, we can replenish our food. As the soul clan's yin spirit's excited words fell, streams of gray air suddenly gathered from all directions in the entire extinction array. They were all the resentment and death energy of the dead human awakeners and monsters. After a while, these gray resentment and deathly energy condensed into a huge ball of resentment beside the Black Lotus Saint Envoy. Invisible but visible, a hideous face appeared on the ball of resentment, very evil. The extremely dense resentment and death energy continued to gather. The Soul Clan Yin spirit looked at the Black Lotus Saint Envoy with a ferocious face and said, "Boy, Lousy will help you break this formation first. Go ahead, and when you recover to your prime, go and stop that thing. Don't let him come to me. If there is any sign of trouble, I will immediately get back into the box. Understand?" When the Black Lotus Saint Envoy nodded solemnly, the Soul Clan's yin spirits laughed strangely and then spread out into streams of gray gas. After emitting a series of ghostly howls, the array of annihilation continued to spread around the heaven and earth. Seeing this, Yi Wuchen frowned. "Commander Lu, Commander Duan, stop this thing, don't let it get close to the formation. Advertisement. Although I don't know what this thing is, judging from the current situation, it should be the trump card that the Holy Envoy used to become king. And according to his intuition, this strange thing must not be allowed to touch the annihilation array. Otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. I'll do it." Duan Xingyun gave a delicate cry, and her heroic figure immediately transformed into a spear of light, rushing towards the gray airflow in the sky. However, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy remained indifferent. He wanted to see whether this evil spirit of the Soul Clan was really as it said, fearless of no one except the abyss. Yunj Tiger King turned his head and said, "Hylian, is that your trump card?" The Black Lotus Saint Envoy said expressionlessly, "It can help us break the formation and kill the enemy." Suddenly, Yunji Tiger King was unhappy. "Damn you. If you have this trump card, why didn't you use it earlier? Why did you wait until the King Feng who suddenly appeared below killed almost all of our people before you used it?" The Black Lotus Saint Envoy looked at the Cloud Tiger King coldly. "I don't believe that you, as the demon lords of the two major demon realms, don't have a trump card. Besides, that thing is difficult for me to control. It is a double-edged sword." Double-edged sword. The Yunj Tiger King was confused, but when he saw the scene below, he finally understood. No matter which battlefield it was, the monsters and human awakeners who were only seriously injured and could still be rescued, as long as they were wrapped by the gray airflow, their vitality would quickly fade away. Those who could not withstand it would die on the spot, and those who could withstand it would gradually become weak and not far from death. F*K. How can this be called a trump card? It's clearly a stab in the back. Hurry up and tell that thing to back off. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy shook his head and said, "Let's wait until he breaks this formation. A small sacrifice is nothing compared to a great victory." Seeing this, the Evil Dragon King and the Yunji Tiger King almost couldn't help but curse, but they held back. This damn cult, when it gets cruel, even kills its own people. No. It's their devil cub, of course. The two of them could still accept such a situation. As long as they could really break this formation and recover to their peak state, they would definitely be able to overwhelm Yi Wuchen and the other three, or even severely injure them. It's a small sacrifice, really not a big deal, although not as vicious as these cult members. But compared to being cold-blooded, these monsters are just as good. At this moment, facing Duan Xingyun's shocking spear light and the sharp increase in special abilities, The Soul Clan Yin spirit just laughed strangely and said, "Little girl, with your meager king-level cultivation and the level of your will, you are just a bigger ant in the universe. You still want to hurt me? You are dreaming, hee hee hee." Advertisement. The eerie mocking voice spread throughout the sky. Duan Xingyun indeed condensed his determination into a domain, which also enveloped part of the gray airflow, but the airflow easily penetrated out of the domain, as if it were an invisible object and could not be stopped at all. They could only allow this evil spirit of the Soul Clan to come into contact with the light patterns of the array of annihilation, and then actually corrode the array patterns. "You dare!" Seeing the surrounding Quincy being corroded and dimmed, Duan Xingyun's beautiful eyes widened in her murderous intent surge. The 20% of the will of heaven and earth that he had comprehended was all integrated into the domain in the spear light. All of a sudden, the entire domain seemed to come alive. The sky-high spear lights that were shaped by sharp intentions were finally able to disperse some of the gray airflow, but it was only a part. "Hee hee hee, not bad, not bad, you finally managed to attack me, but, so what? This endless resentment has been replenished." The strange, sarcastic laughter continued to sound, constantly irritating Duan Xingyun's mood. Yi Wuchen and Lu Tianhe's expressions also gradually turned ugly. Just as they were about to head towards the gray airflow, the evil Dragon King and the Yunj Tiger King stopped them in advance. The tiger face of Yunj Tiger King was so mean at this moment. So anxious, these human ants are anxious, ha 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 ha. The evil Dragon King finally exhaled a ball of dragon breath and sneered at Yi Wuchen. "Once the formation is broken, it will be your death." The entire array of annihilation, except for the dark territory of the War Demon, was completely covered by gray air currents, constantly corroding the array of annihilation. Click, bang. After a while, a sharp sound of breaking was heard. Under the desperate gaze of a group of human awakeners, the extermination array collapsed. The suppression of the formation also dissipated at this time, and the monsters recovered to their heyday again. Although most of the 5th level demon generals had been slaughtered by the War Demon, the monsters that were still outside at this time all roared to the sky. Roar, roar, roar. Emotions such as excitement, bloodthirstiness, madness, anger, etc. were vented. In the abyss, Sumo, who felt all this through the War Demon, looked a little solemn. He had no idea what that thing was, but at this moment, without the suppression of the long-planned Quincy array, it was obvious that they were at a disadvantage again, whether in terms of high-end or low-end combat power. Suddenly, a young man who was sitting cross-legged on a black lotus broke through a hole in the abyss and came to Chu Chungfeng, who was about to be swallowed by the netherworld. After saving Chu Chungfeng, he looked at the War Demon with fear and curiosity. It is the Black Lotus Holy Envoy whose strength has recovered to its heyday. Chapter 194. Become the King, Perfect Will, Abyss materialized. After being rescued from the Abyss Nether Cave, Chu Chungfeng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, then looked at the Black Lotus Saint Envoy with an unnatural expression. Sorry. It was indeed a bit embarrassing that 2 kings were treated like this by a transcendent 9-star person. Although this extraordinary 9-star person obviously cannot be viewed according to common sense, his realm is there and it is really embarrassing. It doesn't matter. It's already pretty good that you can hold on until now in the face of him. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy did not look back, but kept looking at the towering War Demon, and shock gradually filled his eyes. Just as the Soul Clan's Yin spirit said, the War Demon in front of him turned into a human form and had not reached the King realm. But it was precisely this point that shocked him. The extraordinary 9 stars killed the king and displayed the domain of the complete body. Mysterious and bizarre means, is this the abyss? It's really terrifying. Moreover, being in the abyss realm, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy clearly felt a sense of pressure. He has already recovered to his prime, and has 1 foot in the late stage of becoming a king. Even so, I feel pressure. No wonder the Soul Clan's evil spirit was so fearful. At this moment, even the Black Lotus Saint's fear of the War Demon increased a bit. Of course, this kind of pressure is still within his tolerance range. No more words. Wow, there was a sound of blooming light, and the Black Lotus Saint opened his eyes. The pair of Black Lotus pupils suddenly burst into a surging purple-black light, and endless dim light formed towering Black Lotuses. Black Lotus Field. Following a low shout from the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, the Black Lotuses once again burst out with colorful rays of light. Buzz buzz buzz, the faint purple light filled the entire abyss, illuminating the darkness. Pillars of light with purple-black lotus marks also continued to rise and descend to the bottom of the abyss. Final. Advertisement. These pillars of light connected the sky and the earth, and at the same time connected to each other, completely filling the entire abyss. The black sun was surrounded by clusters of lotus flowers, blocking the continuously emanating black ripples. Even if the evil sun devoured a large amount of lotus brilliance and continued to grow, the surrounding lotus phenomena would continue to emerge in the first place and continue to wrap around the abyss evil sun, as if they had life. These black lotuses would suppress every move within the entire dark abyss on their own. Will. The will of heaven and earth. The Black Lotus field that incorporates the will of heaven and earth. At this moment, Black Lotus will not underestimate the War Demon and must suppress it with absolute strength. Will. It is after being promoted to the level of king that the soul is sublimated and cleansed, and the spiritual power of the soul is greatly increased. Therefore, one can more thoroughly comprehend the heaven and earth, that is, the more essential power of the power of heaven and earth, the will of heaven and earth. It can also be called the power of heaven. Once this power is integrated into one's own domain, then the entire domain will be truly in harmony with the heaven and earth, and can continuously amplify the offensive shaped and manifested by one's own supernatural powers, making the entire domain completely alive. Its power is a world apart from that of a domain without willpower. After all, there is indeed an essential difference between a living field and a dead field. And the will of heaven and earth is completely perfect. But in the entire history of the earth, no one has ever been able to comprehend the full extent of the realm and be crowned a king. He, the Black Lotus Saint, has only comprehended 35% of it so far, which is enough to be proud of. Because he made a profit, he killed a king and many 5th-level demon generals. Although it was only half, it had already exceeded 1 million. I don't quite understand. And Principal Feng secretly said that Senior Morong was at the middle stage of the king realm, so this Black Lotus Saint envoy was definitely at the peak of the middle stage. They came to Chu Chungfeng's side and said respectfully to the Black Lotus Saint envoy, "Thank you, Lord Black Lotus Saint envoy." In less than a moment, the entire Abyss realm was completely changed. Although it was not defeated, all attacks were forcefully taken over by the Black Lotus Saint, which hindered the war demon's killing. This is definitely the strongest King Sumo has ever seen. The Black Lotus Saint envoy did not speak, but quietly looked at the war demon who was trapped by his 9 nether Black Lotus, which was composed of the purest power of heaven and earth and integrated with his will. Although the latter was unable to move at the moment, he did not know what happened. Damn it! The spiritual force of the soul hummed, and the majestic power of heaven made the Black Lotus flowers full of divine majesty and vitality, constantly suppressing the black evil sun, and even the dim purple light emitted by it crushed and melted the sharp teeth of the abyss. Advertisement now, in order to deal with the war demon, he has integrated 20% of the will of heaven and earth into the Black Lotus field. Is this perfect perfection really cool? He knew a little about the power of will, but he only knew that this legendary power existed, but he didn't know where its limit was. He shook his head, not thinking anymore, and continued to ask Zanmo. Zanmo, how much strength can you exert within my tolerance at this moment? Can you step into the level of the king? In the rules of monsters, the first element is that the strong are respected, and the difference in race is only the second. The surviving 5th-level demon generals who were still fleeing in a hurry all breathed a sigh of relief. Hearing his master's words, the war demon said coldly, "Almost 300,000 have been consumed, and the remaining 200,000 have not yet been converted into energy. It seems that even if the extraordinary 9-star war demon erupts again, he can only break the offensive at most, but it should be difficult to defeat the Black Lotus Saint envoy. It would undoubtedly be a waste of energy if he keeps wasting time like this." However, before the war demon could speak, the system's voice came out first. "Host, the war demon has just entered the realm of the king, which is your current limit. The meaning of perfect will is that once he enters the initial stage of the king, he can control the limit of the perfect will. After integrating into the domain, the real abyss will descend." The Black Lotus Saint always felt that something was wrong. Sumo, who saw all this through the shared perspective, frowned and asked Zanmo. "Zanmo, how is the 500,000 energy I gave you before being consumed?" Sumo's face was dark. "Explain it clearly." Even the war demon's abyss netherworld cave was surrounded by a huge black lotus in the center, which was formed by the purple light pillars that connected the sky and the earth. Although it could not dissolve the netherworld cave, it also stopped the expansion and suction of this black hole that swallowed the sky and the earth, like an abyss monster trapped in a cage. Hearing this, Sumo didn't feel any pain this time, and smiled, "Not bad." After saying this, Sumo was stunned. What is the effect of the perfect will? This Black Lotus Saint envoy is indeed no simple person. With one move, he instantly stopped the war demon's attack. Much stronger than Morong Chongkong. In the entire Black Rock Church, the number of people who can realize the same level as him can be counted on one hand. Even that legendary being and the first-generation leader of the Black Rock Church, as well as the 4 demon lords and various mythical beasts from thousands of years ago, have not achieved it. Maybe even stronger, system. The best in the whole field. Become a king, perfect will, materialize the abyss. The war demon's voice was still cold. Become the king, perfect your will, and materialize the abyss. What's more, the Black Lotus Saint envoy who saved them was an extremely powerful being, so the call of, "Sir," definitely came from the heart. The only pity is that he didn't kill Xing Wuan himself, which makes him feel a little sad. Chapter 195 I am invincible in Heaven Defying, and I am a member of the Heaven Defying Alliance. The best in the whole show. Hearing this, Sumo smiled. What are you waiting for, Zanmo, kill him. After hearing the master's words, the war demon's cold voice followed. With 500,000 energy points, you can enter the realm of becoming a king. 500,000, Sumo's eyebrows twitched and his heart trembled violently. What he said about not feeling any physical pain was all a lie. His body was honest and still couldn't withstand such exhaustion and blow. But no matter what, given the current situation, we must spend some money. He readily transferred another 500,000 energy points to the war demon. Soon, the war demon converted all the remaining energy points and these 500,000 energy points into energy. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy, who had been observing the war demon, frowned deeper and deeper. The strong feeling of uneasiness in my heart was almost unsuppressible. What's going on? I've already suppressed him, why'd I feel uneasy? The Black Lotus Saint Envoy tried to calm himself down, but no matter how hard he tried, he would only become more and more uneasy. Sudden snap, along with a crisp sound, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, who was frowning at the war demon, felt his heart twitch violently. Chu Changfeng and a group of 5th-level demon generals, who had completely relaxed, looked at the war demon suddenly with expressions of disbelief. The 9 nether Black Lotus that trapped the war demon, shattered. Transformed into black and purple light all over the sky. How is that possible? Looking at the light particles all over the sky, Chu Changfeng couldn't help but blurt out. This is the power that can trap the middle stage of the Sealed King realm. How could it break without any warning? The 9 nether Black Lotus is one of the Black Lotus Saint's powerful means to trap the enemy, even though Chu Changfeng saw it for the first time. But through the vast power and the oppressive binding structure, he also knew how difficult it was to escape. At least, even if Chu Changfeng gave his all, he would find it difficult to break free. Without the power of the middle stage of becoming a king, or understanding the will of heaven and earth, it is absolutely impossible to break free. But why would such a terrifying means of restraint disappear without any warning? What happened? That dark guy doesn't seem to be making any moves, right? Not only Chu Changfeng was puzzled, even the Black Lotus Saint Envoy had doubts in his eyes at this moment. The war demon did not make any movement, and even his breath did not fluctuate. But why did his 9 nether Black Lotus dissipate like this? But before he could figure it out, advertisement click, 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 click. Crisp sounds rang out one after another around heaven and earth. The majestic Black Lotuses full of vitality that trapped the abyss also shattered. Just like the 9 nether Black Lotus that trapped the war demon, it all turned into light dust. Even the purple-black light pillars that connected the sky and the earth began to crack and were on the verge of shattering. There was also the strange image of the lotus that enveloped the evil son of the abyss, which went from being dazzling at the beginning to becoming dim. All the forces that try to hinder the abyss are gradually approaching the brink of collapse. The expressions of Chu Changfeng and others also became nervous. Looking at the war demon, when he found that the latter was still motionless, all kinds of emotions of uneasiness swept over him again. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy had an unpleasant look on his face. What on earth happened? Buzz. At this moment, a loud bang broke out, shaking the heaven and earth. Black ripples spread rapidly, and all attacks of the Black Lotus Saint Envoy were shattered once they were swept by the black ripples. In the center, the war demon that had been silent for a long time moved. Buzz. He raised his head, and suddenly, his deep eyes shot out, piercing through the void above, piercing through his own abyss, and shooting straight into the starry sky of the universe, buzzing. This strange sight instantly attracted the attention of everyone on the battlefield, and everyone stared at it in blank amazement. The Yunj Tiger King, who was suppressing Lu Tianhe, was almost hit by the gaze. He dodged subconsciously and asked with fear on his tiger face. What is this? Grass. Scared the tiger. It had a premonition that if it had not avoided that deep gaze just now, it would have been pierced like a sieve. The Soul Clan ghost that was teasing and fighting with Duan Xingyun, the moment the eyes appeared, its evil body was like a cat with its tail clamped, and it almost couldn't keep its shape. The abyss of the king realm. He suddenly looked towards those 2 arrogant eyes, and the ferocious face formed by the air mass suddenly revealed an expression that was uglier than crying. Boy. You are really a fool. You are killing me, Master Hun, damn it. As it spoke, the gray resentment in the sky stopped reaping the lives of human awakeners and monsters, and quickly gathered towards the air mass, while spraying a group of gray ripples towards the abyss. As soon as the ripples touched the surface of the abyss, they corroded a large hole. After doing all this, he hurriedly sent a message to the Black Lotus Saint Envoy through the ancient box. Boy, why the hell are you standing there? Upon hearing this, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy in the Abyss realm burst out with all his strength without saying a word and rushed towards the big hole. But the hole was closing quickly, and the Soul Clan's yin spirits were furious. Damn it, I thought I could gain a lot of resentment and death energy from this trip, but who knew that now not only is it in vain, but even the source of my resentment has gone in with me. I am vomiting. If it weren't for the Black Lotus Saint Envoy holding the ancient box with his roots, he would definitely turn around and run. Although it was complaining, gray ripples burst out again, slowing down the healing of the abyss a little. The Black Lotus Saint Envoy also rushed out of the abyss by a hair's breadth, and then shouted, Evil Dragon King, Tiger King, retreat. After saying that, he ignored it and immediately appeared in the black cloud of demonic energy behind him. Saint, hurry, open the entrance to the space. Advertisement Mo Shui was still immersed in the joy of impending victory, but he was yelled at by the sudden appearance of the Black Lotus Saint Envoy and no longer cared about anything else. Without any hesitation, he used the secret spirit to open a space entrance and jumped in first. It was the first time she had seen the Black Lotus Saint Envoy in such a panic. She was scared, but she was not a fool. I know that Lord Heilian must have encountered something invincible. After Mo Shui left, the Black Lotus Saint Envoy followed closely and jumped into the space entrance and disappeared. At the edge of the starry sky, the 2 demon lords who were fighting each other lost their souls on the spot as soon as they received the message from the Black Lotus Saint Envoy. They directly absorbed the power and will of heaven and earth, burst out with all their strength, and fled in another direction. The original words of the Black Lotus Saint Envoy were, "A strong person with a perfect will." Of course, this was also what the Soul Clan's Yin spirit told the Black Lotus Saint Envoy, otherwise the latter would probably have hesitated for a while. The two demon lords were naturally even more frightened when they heard this. Regardless of whether what Black Lotus said was true or not, the fact that they ran away first was worth their deep consideration, so it was right to run. And at the moment when the two monsters left, a circle of black ripples covered the area. The range was wider and larger than that of the extinction array. No matter whether it was humans or the remaining monsters, they were all directly enveloped in this abyss. Then, a group of monsters that couldn't even make a scream were directly melted away, with a look of confusion on their faces, and turned into black dust all over the sky. In the distance, until the prompting sound in his mind stopped, Sumo quickly sent a message to Zanmo. "Stop, stop, stop." The war demon stopped immediately, and the aura that had just entered the early stage of the King Realm was forcibly stopped. In his hand, he was holding Chu Changfeng, who had already lost consciousness. Looking at all this, Sumo couldn't help but swallow. It's over in less than 5 seconds? That's right. It seemed that the war demon had just taken the step to become the king. He had not yet formed any thoughts or exerted his willpower. All the monsters died. It's a pity that the guys sitting on the Black Lotus and the two demon kings ran away the moment the war demon aura rose. Otherwise, he would definitely make a lot of money, but Sumo could still accept this result. After taking down Chu Changfeng, the chance of being the first to be crowned king was definitely secured. Moreover, the war demon also saved energy. The energy consumed at the moment of just stepping into the state of becoming a king was less than 300,000 at most. Generally speaking, it is definitely a profit. The abyss that enveloped all directions gradually dissipated at this time. At the scene, except for the corpses of monsters on the ground, there was no living monster left. At this time, a group of human awakeners were bewildered and stood there in a daze. Only Yi Wuchen, one of the three kings, came to the side of the war demon at the first time. Looking at the war demon holding Chu Changfeng, they guessed what was going on at the first time. At the same time, they were puzzled in their hearts, who is the war demon? Because they have never seen such a field in the entire human race, and it is definitely not sent by the government. Yi Wuchen quickly said, "Brother, are you a strong man in my hidden human family?" After all, his own Yi family is one of the savior families and is considered semi-hidden. Therefore, he knows that there are definitely some unknown families and forces among humans, which will only appear in the world when the survival of mankind is at stake. This person is most likely such a strong person, or an independent and reclusive person. Looking at the three crowned kings' puzzled gazes, the war demon said calmly, "I am Heaven-Defying Invincible, a member of the Heaven-Defying Alliance." This shameful name was given to him by his master. After saying that, he picked up Chu Changfeng and disappeared into the sky. Chapter 196. Reward for Becoming King, Cross-Boundary Pearl. Heaven-Defying Invincibility. Looking at the figure of the war demon going away, the three powerful kings looked at each other with emotion. What a domineering name. The name really suits the person. In the early stage of the King Realm, he displayed an invincible combat power beyond common sense. One person suppressed two kings, and the Black Lotus Saint Envoy was frightened so much that the three of them were unable to defeat him and fled in a hurry. Finally, the mysterious area was cleared. Everything happened so suddenly that it was over before anyone could react. With such combat power and unfathomable attainments in the field, he is truly worthy of the name Heaven-Defying Invincible. I feel inferior to him. Turning to look at Lu Tianhe, Yi Wuchen suddenly asked curiously, "Commander Lu, your military is more informed than my Yi family in this regard. This Heaven-Defying Invincible said that he is a member of the Heaven-Defying Alliance. Have you heard of the deeds of this force?" The Heaven-Defying Alliance sounds like the name of a force, and this Heaven-Defying Invincible comes from this force. For a person like this, no matter how reclusive he is, there should be some scattered records about him. Lu Tianhe shook his head and smiled bitterly. I have never heard of it. Hearing this, Yi Wuchen frowned. That's strange. After all, the growth of a power requires resources and so on, which will inevitably involve transactions with the human community. Generally, there are two possible reasons for this situation that the federal government has no records of. First, the number of people in this Heaven-Defying Alliance is small, and they can be self-sufficient without too much contact with the human community. Second, it is similar to this secret realm. During the catastrophe thousands of years ago, they fell into the secret realm, but they are free to enter and exit. They are just not willing to integrate with the outside world. This time, they may be passing by and helping each other. After saying this, Lu Tianhe nodded. No matter what, at least this Heaven-Defying brother is not our enemy. If the war demon is their enemy, then, my scalp is tingling. Duan Xingyun, who was standing by, had been watching the figure of the war demon going away until the latter disappeared. She then spoke solemnly. This time, fortunately, Brother Heaven-Defying came to our aid, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. The Black Rock Church is indeed more difficult to deal with than it was 1,000 years ago. Not only is it madly cooperating with monsters, but even its various backgrounds, the black fog that blocks spiritual perception, and the gray creatures are far more advanced than they were 1,000 years ago. After this, we can no longer just be on guard against the front lines. We would rather sacrifice some of the battle situation on the front lines and be more careful about these rats. Otherwise, the road ahead for us humans will be very difficult. Hearing the helpless tone of the female martial queen, Yi Wuchen and Lu Tianhe fell silent. Now, the humans have finally resisted the invasion and advancement of monsters on the front battlefield, although it is a bit anxious. But at least every route and habitat that humans must take has been preserved. Advertisement. Although some small towns are still in a precarious situation. But it is much better than before. After all, I don't have to live a life in fear and struggle anymore. With room for development, there is still hope of becoming the master of the earth again. Of course, wanting to become the master of the new planet again after the catastrophe is still an unattainable dream. 90% of the territory has become a paradise for monsters, and less than 10% belongs to humans. Such a gap is really too difficult to bridge, and now that those rats from the Black Rock Church have jumped out to cause trouble again, things have become even more difficult. Sighing, Yi Wuchen looked at the desolate battlefield below, a heavy look in his sword eyes. Two commanders, give the orders. Although the Black Rock Church and the Evil Dragon King have retreated, we still need to be on guard. The formation at the entrance of the Secret Realm also needs to be rearranged. As for the group of young people, let them train in the Secret Realm first. After all, they are our hope for the future. Soon, as the two demon-suppressing army commanders issued orders one after another, the demon-suppressing army immediately deployed its troops in an orderly manner. On the other side, Zan Mo carried the unconscious Chu Chengfeng around in a big circle. Once again, he returned to a hidden hill tens of thousands of meters away from the Secret Realm. After a while, a space channel appeared on the side, dark and deep, with the distortion of space. A tall and slender figure in a black robe walked out of the space passage, with a silver mask on his face. The person who came was Su Hao. The war demon immediately brought the unconscious Chu Chengfeng in front of Su Hao, master. As Su Mo's shadow clone, with the same soul, Zan Mo would naturally obey Su Hao's words if the former did not give any orders. And Su Hao came here, naturally at Su Mo's order, to kill the king. The reward for being the first kill in the King Realm, can't wait. At the same time, in the secret realm of the Treasure Land, Su Mo, who was returning to the secret realm with the crowd, finally received the first kill reward he had been longing for. Ding! The host killed the King Realm Early Awakener and obtained 1,304,916 energy points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing a creature at the King level for the first time. Special rewards are triggered. 6 million energy points, 2 designated unlock progress scrolls, 4 advanced unlock progress random draw scrolls, 1 top martial arts random draw scroll, 1 system character template capacity promotion scroll, 1 life-saving doll, and a cross-border bead. Advertisement. Looking at the prompt bar carefully, Su Mo smiled. In the early stage of the King Realm, it is indeed more than 1 million energy points. Although I didn't kill it myself, the sense of accomplishment of killing the King Realm is really cool. Before this, he felt that becoming a king was so far away and was his lifelong goal. It is also an existence that the world needs to look up to, like a god. Not to mention killing, it is already a great achievement for Su to achieve it. But now, I suddenly feel that being crowned king is just... No, you can't expand. Su Mo suppressed the strange emotions that were quietly rising in his heart and shook his head. Don't have such thoughts. I didn't kill the king myself, so I can't get too arrogant. The king is still my first big goal for now. When I kill the king with my own strength, I can get a little arrogant. A person can have an arrogant heart, but he must never be without a sense of awe. Continue to look at the system prompt bar, and you will find that the triggered special rewards are also very rich. A big reward of 6 million energy points. In addition to what I had before, there are also those I got from killing people in this battlefield. Although I know that after some subsequent consumption, I will definitely experience the feeling of being poor again. But I still can't help feeling a sense of accomplishment, just like the excitement of seeing my own piggy bank full. Trying hard to suppress the urge to grin, Su Mo continued to look at other things. It has become commonplace to randomly draw scrolls for advanced unlock progress. The 2 designated unlock progress tickets were a nice surprise. As for the random draw of top-level martial arts, it should be possible to draw some very powerful martial arts. Moreover, it is said that there have been only a few top-quality martial arts in the past 1,000 years, and even the powerful kings may not be able to practice them. Because this can be used together with supernatural powers, the degree of compatibility can simulate infinite possibilities of martial arts. It's okay. The remaining 3 things are what attract Su Mo the most. System character template capacity promotion scroll. Surrogate doll. And the last one sounds really high-end and is a crossover bead. With full of anticipation, his mind quickly scanned the area. Chapter 197. The Land of Heaven and Earth. Let's look at the substitute doll first. After all, the word, doll, will make people imagine a lot, and it attracted Su Mo's attention at the first moment. The substitute doll is a fluorescent, palm-sized doll made of special material. It looks very playful, with the word, life, engraved on it, revealing surging vitality. Life-replacing doll. It can cancel out the life of the user. Even if the user is crushed to pieces and his soul is taken away, he can be resurrected intact. it is a disposable consumable. Sumo's eyes lit up. Good stuff. This is definitely a life-saving, heaven-defying treasure, equivalent to having an extra life. As long as he has this life, he can spend it however he wants without any panic. At worst, he will die once and be a hero again when he is resurrected. But he is afraid that he will not be able to use this thing. Air shock defense, armed color, Susanoo, Kamui Hollow, hiding in a different space, wearing poisonous sky-scale armor, soul and body horror. Is this life-saving doll useful? I can't die. It depends on which warrior can break through Sumo's nesting doll defense and force him to use the substitute doll, otherwise it will get moldy. Overall, the substitute doll is a timely help and icing on the cake for Sumo, a good treasure. With a change of mind, he looked at the second object, which was a ball of light similar to a scroll. System Character Template Capacity Promotion Scroll can improve the capacity of template characters by 1 level. For example, the host is currently at level 2 capacity, which can only accommodate 2 strongest character templates. After using this scroll, it can be immediately upgraded to level 3 and the capacity can be expanded to accommodate 1 more strongest character template, so that the host can continue to draw character templates. Upgrade to a higher level? Looking at the introduction, Sumo suddenly thought of a question. He remembered that if the character template capacity of this system was to be upgraded to level 3, 4 million energy points would be required. This is not a small amount, that is to say, this ticket is worth 4 million. But what Sumo thought was that his current energy points were enough to pay for this. So can this capacity upgrade scroll be kept and upgraded to level 4? After all, there is no restriction that it can only be upgraded to level 3, right? To upgrade the capacity from level 3 to level 4, the energy points consumed will definitely be more, perhaps even several times more. In this case, why not take a long-term view and use your energy points to upgrade to level 3 first, and save the capacity upgrade scroll for upgrading to level 4? Advertisement. That's it. I'm not a business genius, but as long as I'm a normal person, I will make the same choice after weighing my own conditions. Unless you are really penniless, you can only use capacity coupons to quench your thirst. Not bad, not bad. Very satisfied with the effects of the 2 items, Sumo was in a good mood and immediately looked at the last hazy bead. Cross-border bead. This name is indeed very high-sounding, but I don't know what its effect will be. Without any hesitation, he clicked on the introduction column of the cross-border bead, and some words immediately appeared on the box. Cross-boundary bead. A mysterious bead that can cross the heavens and all worlds. It possesses the power of time and space, but the energy required to cross is immeasurable. The energy consumed in a world close to the user is less, while in a world far away, it requires immeasurable energy. After each use, a cooling time is required to recover, and the cooling time can also be reduced by energy. Tip. Before crossing the border, you need to prepare enough energy and consider the energy required for the round trip, otherwise there may be insufficient energy, causing the user to be trapped in the gap between time and space, unable to escape forever. Benefits. Host currently has 1 free trial period. Do you want to use it immediately? Hearing what the system said, Sumo rolled his eyes fiercely. Use your head. Do you want me to disappear for no reason like this and make the senior sisters anxious to death? And with my strength, I haven't even been crowned a king. Who knows if the outside world is a place where people can walk on the streets of the extraordinary and be crowned a king, even worse than a dog. What if I get caught by the big guys in other worlds? After complaining, Sumo was left with only emotion in his heart. Sure enough, the planet and world they're in now are not the only ones. The mysterious and boundless heavens and worlds are the real stage. The world we are in now is probably just one of an endless number of worlds, right? Even in their world, Earth is probably just a tiny speck of dust in the universe. Small, too small. At this moment, Sumo's awe became even stronger. This cross-border bead, for now, doesn't seem to be of much use. Finally, after taking another look at the cross-border bead, Sumo sighed helplessly. Cross-border, even the mysterious places on Earth cannot be entered, and we don't even know what is hidden in the depths of the universe. Are there monsters everywhere? Are there any planets with life like Earth? And we still want to leave this world? This is speechless and is courting death. The system's cold voice came at this time. Host, you may have misunderstood something. Although the cross-boundary beads are called cross-boundary beads, they do not necessarily have to be used across boundaries. Cross-boundary beads have the ability to travel through time and space, and can also travel across star regions. They can accurately search for life stars and then cross over. Such things are also possible. Sumo was stunned when he heard this. System, from what you said, the world I am in now, in the endless starfields and stars in the universe, does it really exist? Advertisement, Hearing the system's straightforward response, Sumo was silent, and then became curious. Are there life forms like humans on other life planets? Or, they are all alien monsters, just like thousands of years ago, suddenly descending on Earth and trying to devour all the living beings on the planets? Unknowns, too many unknowns. When he becomes strong enough, he will definitely explore. Shaking his head, Sumo quickly withdrew his thoughts, and at this time, everyone returned to the 2 holy cities. What the federal government meant was that the next morning, this group of young people would be allowed to step into every corner of the secret territory. Let them experience and explore on their own. If they can encounter opportunities and treasures, that's their own ability. Of course, they are all equipped with rescue items, which can be used immediately when in distress. The danger lies in the fact that there are still some indigenous monsters in the secret realm that have not been completely eliminated. After returning to the holy city of Dawn, Sumo immediately summoned his closest relatives. Ning Kiki, Shangguan Feiyan, Yi Xiaoshui, Shen Darong, Shangguan Qinghong, Shang Wushang. They are the people he trusts the most. Sitting on the fighter plane, Shang Wushang asked with a simple face, "Brother Mo, where are we going?" After that, everyone looked at Sumo with confusion. He actually ran out quietly and even the principal didn't know about it. He acted so mysteriously. Where was he going? Looking at the crowd, Sumo grinned. Good place. After saying that, he didn't say another word. His mysterious look made Ninkiki and others crazy. Ignoring the frantic questioning from Yi Xiaoshui and Ninkiki, Sumo calmly urged the Origin Holy Spirit to sense this secret place, change the terrain and environment, and gather the spiritual energy vortices from various places. That's right. He wanted to create a place with the best of nature and beauty that could rival the sacred mountains and holy places in the outside world for cultivation. Chapter 198. That night at this moment, all the psychic energy vortices, large and small, were under Sumo's control and gathered in a hidden place that had been arranged. Changing the world sounds a bit dreamy. But for Sumo, who possesses the original Holy Spirit, it is easy. In this secret treasure land, he is a god. Although I haven't fully mastered it yet, I can still do some of the operations. At this time, under a fairyland-like land vein, Su Ying was sitting quietly on a piece of milky white jade. This milky white jade was green jade before, but it only took a few days for Sumo to control the psychic vortex to gather here. It was permeated by the pure spiritual energy and turned into a milky white color. One can imagine how dense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is in this fairyland. It is the place with the most concentrated spiritual energy in the past 1,000 years, and now Sumo has gathered the spiritual energy vortexes from all over. It's so thick, it's amazing. Milky white psychic energy rained down everywhere, and in every part of the fairyland, there were numerous psychic energy pools of pure psychic energy liquid. In the air, there was a pure spiritual mist floating around, creating a fairy-like scene. Moreover, near this 1,000-year-old earth vein, there are many spiritual energy veins that have taken root, providing a steady supply of spiritual energy. The concentration will only get higher. Take a sip and your whole body and mind will feel relaxed and happy. Sitting cross-legged on the milky white jade, Su Ying took a breath of the air in ecstasy, and almost every pore in her body was moaning. So cool. The pure spiritual energy here basically does not need to be tempered or anything, just absorb it. It can definitely be called a place of natural beauty. On the other side, the fighter plane piloted by Bo Lao was crossing the mountains and rivers with a long tail flame. After walking for half a day, they finally arrived above this land vein. Looking down from above, it is just an ordinary mountain range. Although it is beautiful, there is nothing special about it. This is naturally Sumo's masterpiece, hiding all the extraordinary landforms under the underground veins. Otherwise, if you don't hide it at all, it will definitely be discovered after a few days. It is indeed a bit selfish for him to do this, but who isn't selfish? The best things should definitely be reserved for those closest to us, right? Advertisement. Moreover, Sumo did not completely gather the psychic vortex and psychic veins. Although most of the secret realm had been hidden by him, there were still many exposed treasures. As for whether you can encounter it, it all depends on the luck of the federal government and the universities. This was already his biggest concession. After all, as human beings, it was not good to be too selfish. Without rushing to inform everyone of the situation, Sumo smiled mysteriously and said, "Master Bo, please go down." At this time, Mr. Bo's eyes were full of curiosity, but he still slowly lowered the fighter plane. Ning Kiki poked her head out from her seat and looked down. "Senior, this place is indeed beautiful, but there's nothing special about it. Wait, are you bringing us here? For an outing?" Sumo, who was looking mysterious, couldn't help but twitch his lips. "I've decided, you are not allowed to get off the plane." What kind of train of thought is this? Anyone can vaguely guess what it is. Outing? You are really amazing, Ning Kiki. Stop it, senior. The little girl immediately looked aggrieved. It's not a picnic, is it? Is it a treasure hunt? Well, this little head is finally normal. Seeing Sumo nod helplessly, everyone looked confused. Treasure hunting, this place? This stretch of mountains is indeed very beautiful, but the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is very thin. It is not even as good as some mountains that look ugly and desolate but are full of spiritual energy from heaven and earth. Can there really be treasures in mountains that are not nourished by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for a long time? The fighter plane quickly landed on a relatively flat rock, and Sumo jumped off first. Just follow me. Upon hearing this, Shangguan Feiyan immediately followed, since she trusted her junior unconditionally anyway. Today, because she was going out, she wore a long skirt-like warrior outfit and light armor. Although she was wrapped a little tightly, her tall and perfect body still outlined a different kind of temptation, and she looked charming in her heroic appearance. After jumping off the fighter plane, she stepped forward, held Sumo's hand, and said seriously, "Junior, although this place looks beautiful, there may be monsters here, so be careful." Although he spoke seriously, his ears were a little red. Feeling the soft touch in his hand, Sumo turned around and teased, "Senior, are you protecting me? We just had a sparring match a few days ago, and I am stronger than you. If anyone wants to protect you, it should be me who protects you." As he spoke, he clenched his hands tightly and clenched his fingers on his backhand. "Yeah, very good, very good. Advertisement, since the last dance, they have become more and more natural. How many times have they held hands? 3 times? Or 4 times? Sister, I like you," handshake. Maybe they even kissed secretly, or maybe they even, hee. Following behind, everyone looked at the 2 figures in front of them who looked like a fairy couple, and they all smiled. After hearing Ning Kiki's bold statement, everyone suddenly turned to look at her. Shangguan Xinghong was stunned. F***K. Ning girl, what you said is a bit fierce. When did my brother-in-law and Feiyun progress so quickly? How did you know? As he spoke, Shangguan Xinghong's handsome face was filled with emotion. Does it mean that I, Shangguan Xinghong, have to embrace my nephew at such a young age? The beautiful Yan Qing beside him couldn't help but roll her eyes and pinched him hard. What are you thinking about, Kiki? This girl might be talking nonsense. Hearing this, Ning Kiki got furious. She first glanced at the 2 figures in front of her, then defended herself in a low voice, "I'm not talking nonsense. I remember it very clearly. That night when I was staying in the tent at the entrance of the secret realm, I couldn't sleep so I got up and wanted to walk around. I actually saw Senior Feiyun coming out of the senior's tent with a red face and a panic look on her face. I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't say anything." After these words fell, Lien Yanqing was also stunned, and couldn't help but question the pure relationship between Sumo and Shangguan Feiyun. She and Xinghong have been together for several years, and they have only progressed to intimate hugs and kisses. How could these 2 move on so quickly? Damn. I was originally worried about the relationship between the 2, but it turned out that the clown was themselves. Yi Xiaoshui looked confused at this moment. Have they both reached this point? What should I do? Should I join in? Cheng Wushang and Chen Darong looked at each other and both cast admiring glances at their brother Mo. As expected of brother Mo, he is a hidden talent. Walking quietly in front with Shangguan Feiyun, Sumo didn't know at this time that Ning Kiki, the little girl, had actually caused him such a misunderstanding, otherwise he would definitely have to build an airport on the spot. While chatting with the beauty about culinary insights, he led the group forward. When he reached the top of the earth vein, he directly activated the Holy Spirit of Origin, and immediately ripples appeared. It is the transmission channel leading to the earth veins. With a grin, Sumo pulled Shangguan Feiyun into the ripples without saying a word. Is this a space channel? Although they were surprised by the sudden appearance of the space passage, everyone stepped into it without hesitation. In less than a second, a group of people appeared in the Earth Wonderland. Immediately, his eyes widened, his mouth opened, and he stood there in a daze with a stunned look on his face. Chapter 199. Showdown. Everyone's pace slowed down unconsciously. Because they had never seen such a wonder before them. There are beautiful fairy-like glimmers everywhere, and twinkling fireflies are rising and falling in the sky. The plants here also seem to be extraordinary. Every giant tree seems to have a hidden story. Vines emitting a blue-green glow surround the rugged rocks. From time to time, a few earth spirits poke their heads out from the cracks in the rocks, looking at the people entering the secret realm with confusion. Wow! Many people couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Indeed, if this place just looked beautiful, they might just admire it. But the truth is not that simple. Almost everyone present could feel that there was a powerful energy in the air here. Even a fool can guess that the person who created this place must be the strongest person in the world. Shangguan Feiyun was also very happy with the scenery here. She looked here and there. In short, it never stops. This place is much better than those holy places for cultivation. Brother Sumo, you are amazing. You can even find a place like this. Yi Xiaoshui took the opportunity to flatter Sumo. After all, it was Sumo who brought everyone into this place. Sumo ignored her, his eyes fixed on Shangguan Feiyun. Others thought Yi Xiaoshui was being stupid. Although the concentration of spiritual energy here is much higher than outside, it still carries a personal aura. Obviously, this is a secret space created by Sumo. But what is truly amazing is that Sumo was able to create such a secret realm with such a strong aura by himself. Just by standing here, you can feel the powerful force contained in the airflow. If a child who has just started practicing comes here, he should pay a little attention. After a few days of practice, you will be able to go out alone and face the monsters outside. Yes, Sumo's original intention was indeed to simply create a training ground that was better than the holy places of training outside. But at this moment, Sumo has changed his mind. As he watched Shangguan Feiyun wandering and having fun in this secret place, ideas began to sprout in his mind. Shangguan Xinghong suddenly came over and patted Sumo on the shoulder. Tell me, did you do that to my sister? Sumo was stunned by the question, and the confusion and speechlessness in his eyes almost overflowed. Who do you take me for? No one. Shangguan Xinghong breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. You wouldn't dare to do that. Seeing that Sumo's eyes were fixed on his sister, Shangguan Xinghong tried to hold back, but couldn't help asking. Do you really like my sister? Sumo didn't answer, but just smiled calmly. At this moment, Sumo suddenly felt a violent buzzing in his head. It's the system's movement. It is detected that the host's ability is far higher than the world level. The system is about to fall into a deep sleep. Advertisement Sumo was slightly surprised. What does this mean? Does it mean he is already the strongest? When he came to his senses, the system was silent. He slowly looked at Shangguan Feiyan, who was smiling in the secret realm, and suddenly felt that the purpose of the secret realm might not necessarily be to practice. After all, since he is already invincible in the world, no one will pose a threat to him even if he does not practice. And now strength doesn't seem to be that important to him. Strength is probably to protect the one you love most. Fei Yan. Sumo left Shangguan Qinghong and walked briskly to Shangguan Feiyan. What? Shangguan Feiyan pouted, seeming not to want to pay attention to Sumo. But who can tell if it's shyness? Ning Kiki, on the other hand, saw the two of them standing together and started eating the melon excitedly. She loves to watch other people's love stories the most. Fei Yan. Oh no. Xiao Yan Yan. Sumo's sudden cheesiness scared Shangguan Feiyan. He fell into the lake without paying attention. The lake water, sparkling with starlight, soaked Shangguan Feiyan's whole body. In such a secret place full of sparkling beauty, she looks particularly beautiful and attractive. F*K. Wet temptation. Exciting. Ning Kiki screamed softly while hiding in the corner. Sumo couldn't help laughing and then jumped into the water. Then he slowly picked up Shangguan Feiyan. Fei Yan, I like you, will you be with me? Shangguan Feiyan was frightened. Is this gentle tone the same annoying Sumo from the past? Want me to say it again? They're all watching. Sumo suddenly became threatening again. From the looks of it, it must be him. Shangguan Feiyan struggled to jump off Sumo and took a few steps back in panic. She looked at Sumo's handsome face and her face turned red again. However, she has been looking forward to the words, I love you, for a long time. Why? But she was still stubborn. So do you like this secret place? Not bad, I like it, she pretended to be calm. Then how about if you become my girlfriend, I will help you practice in the secret realm. Shangguan Qinghong was anxious. Yes, he was anxious. Who are you negotiating with? Advertisement Sumo was about to use his strength to shut Shangguan Qinghong's mouth because he wanted to talk to Fei Yan alone. But this is Fei Yan's brother after all, I'll just have to bear with it. Brother, you go ahead. Shangguan Qinghong looked at her sister and thought, no one knows a sister better than her brother. My sister looks like she definitely likes it, he might as well make a deal. The secret realm is for me to practice, and my sister is yours. Happy cooperation. Are you her brother? Are you my real brother? Sumo jumped forward. No, this is Fei Yan's favorite place. These words warmed Shangguan Feiyan's heart. It's okay for me to be your girlfriend, but you are not allowed to look down on me anymore. Sumo laughed. I won't dare to do that in the future. Cheng Wushang and Chen Darong seemed to have much longer reaction times than ordinary people. He walked over with the big pig head in his hand. Brother Mo, is this really the place you built? It's so cool. This is much better than those hard-to-find training areas outside. You are worthy of being Brother Mo. As a result, when they lowered their heads, they saw Sumo and Shangguan Feiyan being intimate. The two men retreated frantically and couldn't help but slap themselves. Then they all said in unison, beautiful. The onlooker Ning Kiki was so excited that she almost fainted. In her heart, Sumo and Shangguan Feiyan are simply the most perfect match for each other. At this time, Yi Xiaoshui had the word jealousy engraved on her face. By the way, Brother Mo, after leaving the secret realm, Cheng Wushang still couldn't help but ask. How did you create such a powerful secret realm? Although Sumo is recognized as powerful, there are still too many unknown things in this world. Moreover, the energy of each secret realm is not a little bit strong. I always feel that Sumo's strength is not the level yet. I tell you, when everyone heard this, their eyes instantly fell on Sumo. I'm going to show my cards. I am the strongest in the world. I just didn't like what you called a holy place for cultivation, so I couldn't help but create one. Sumo looked indifferent. Everyone was shocked. For a moment, everyone, whether they liked him or hated him, looked at him with more admiration. Without this ability, Sumo would never be able to create such a powerful secret realm. It can be seen that he is serious this time. So, Sumo had been pretending all along? He was actually so powerful? Receiving everyone's surprised looks, Sumo couldn't help but sigh softly. Sure enough, to be the strongest person, you have to endure a lot. End of full text.